Hello, and welcome to Hello Sister, a Vampire Diaries podcast with a magical twist.
We're your hosts, Christina Rosso-Schneider
and Brenna Dinon. Christina, how are you doing today?
I am doing great because we got to fit in a little hang before, we started getting ready. This hair is by Brenna. So in my canon, Brenna is going to cosmetology school with Caroline. And so that was just really nice to hang out and have some snacks and some refreshments and get to catch up a little bit.
Always love doing a little snack and drink catch up with you. And also just being able to sit outside on our little porch area. Like Dwight and I have this cutie little porch spot, and it's always just a fun place to sit and gab. So I am glad we got to do that, and I'm glad we got to commit to the bit once again for our episode, as you can see. So before we get into the podcast proper, any housekeeping for today? What do we got?
Yes. So we're keeping this a little short at the beginning because we have a ton we want to get through tonight. So the first thing we want to remind you are ways to support us. So sharing the podcast with friends, leaving a review, subscribing on YouTube. Those are all super helpful things. But then you can also support us by supporting my bookstore, a novel idea on Passyunk, by purchasing books or even just telling people about the store. You can buy my books, She is a Beast, Creole Conjurer, and you can also book either of us for tarot readings.
Oh, yeah, we're both
virtually,
fully available.
In person, etc. That's a great way to support us in these early aughts before we have a Patreon.
Yeah, I know Christina does do tarot readings in person through their shop and online as well, right?
Yeah,
you do online
absolutely.
as well. And then my website's not fully functional at this moment in time because we're giving it a little bit of an facelift, but you can just DM me and we can talk about it.
Or email the podcast email.
Or yes, great segue. You could email our podcast at hellosisterpodcast1864@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, whether you want to book us for an event. You can book us together if you even want.
Ooh, that would be fun.
But we
costumes not included.
Costumes not included unless it's a costume party, and then obviously we will commit to whatever bit you want us to. But you can also just send us stuff about the podcast, any thoughts, feelings, fun tidbits you want to share. We'd love to hear them. And then, of course, you can follow us on Instagram and Threads at Hello Sister Podcast. We're on there. We're moving and grooving. We have some fun things going on. There are some great clips. Actually, the little clips that we do each week, they're available on Instagram, but we also have them on YouTube as well if you follow us on there. Dwight does an amazing job putting them together, so I highly suggest checking those out because they're fun little pull clips from each episode. So, all right. Without further ado, shall we get into episode 12?
Let's shall.
Okay.
Okay, let's jump into the Vampire Diaries episode 12 called Unpleasantville. The title of this episode, as a little bit of trivia, is a play on words for the film Pleasantville, a personal favorite of mine from the 90s. It stars Reese Witherspoon and Tobey Maguire. It came out in 1998, and it does include a 50s decade dance.
Does it really?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that movie in such a long time, and I barely remember it, but that's so fun.
There's definitely dancing and some sexy parts and some dates, and it's very cute and wholesome, but also felt kind of like it was trying to do something important, and I feel like it did that. So
nice. Oh, we'll have to revisit it at some point, but that's so fun.
I hope it holds up.
I hope so,
I haven't watched it since probably 2000, but
yeah, I feel like that's probably around the time that I was also watching it too, but
yeah, so that's where the title comes from and of this episode. And yes, we have a 50s decade dance, which we'll be super excited in, which is a big part of why we dressed up. This episode was directed by Liz Friedlander. I think it's the first time we've seen her as a director. I know, love a lady director too. And this episode was written by Barbie Kligman and Brian Young. Brian with an I. Last name starting with a Y. And this episode aired on January 28th, 2010. As always, we love to share the IMDb synopsis, and we were talking off camera that we have, as usual, thoughts. So this is what it says. The mystic girl's Ben, played by Sean Ferris, comes to Bonnie's aid. Damon and Stefan accompany Elena to a school dance with a 1950s theme. Alaric, played by Matt Davis, introduces himself to Damon.
I just don't know if these are some, I mean, yes, for some of them, but it's just very random, don't you think?
Oh, it's super random. I mean, I don't even think Ben is that large of a character in the episode.
No, not at all. He's truly just a guy for, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess we have to we have to wait and see what comes, in future episodes, but he's literally just introduced in this episode as if he's been the mystic girl's Ben, like as if he's been here the whole time. Like, I would believe that if he was he had been like an ongoing bartender kind of in the background, but we just meet him now.
Yeah, but then he would have been serving underage.
That's so true.
Kids at Caroline/Damon's party. So,
well, it's good to know they finally hired a new bartender.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, he kind of comes to Bonnie's aid, but she honestly has it herself. She can take care of herself.
She already had it handled. He was just there.
Yes, Damon and Stefan do accompany Elena to the themed dance.
Most true sentence out of all three of these sentences.
And yes, Rick technically introduces himself to Damon, but that is not. It's not like this casual introduction. Yeah. So
I don't know. We have questions.
Yes.
As always, we have questions. But without further ado, let's move right along into our episode. So in our opening scene, we have titled Be Careful Who You Invite In, and we are opening at the Gilbert Residence. So Stefan and Elena lay in bed together talking about the events of the past few days, in particular about the vampire that Elena hit with her car. She didn't see his face and really only remembers a black hoodie and black boots. Stefan tells her he brought vervain for her and Jenna and also made a bracelet for Jeremy and gave additional items for her friends. He explains as long as it's ingested or worn, a vampire can't control you. He tells her until they figure out who the new vamp is, they just have to, be careful. Downstairs, the doorbell rings. Jeremy is at the kitchen table drawing a vampire, and it's a pizza delivery guy. Great. We love delivery. Jeremy invites him inside and calls Elena to bring down some money, and there's some dramatic music that plays as the delivery guy steps inside. Elena comes down and hands him cash and leaves, and as he walks away, we see him pull up the hood of his black sweatshirt, and does he not match the description that Elena was talking about? Cue title card and opening credits. All right, we're already really starting off with a whole thing. We got some things to say about this opening scene.
You have to share the thing you've been asking about for weeks.
Listeners, viewers, followers of all kinds, finally, Stefan has given the vulnerable humans some fucking vervain. How did it take this long to get vervain to everyone? We are 12 episodes into this show. Elena, what episode did Elena get her fun little necklace?
Episode 3, Friday Night Bites. And then she finds out at the end of episode 5.
Okay. So, one, I think the necklace was one that already had vervain in it, if I believe, because he had grabbed it from wherever it was in his room, and he had it, and it already had vervain in it. So we didn't know about the stores of vervain at that point in time, but then we did learn about the stores of vervain, and we locked Damon in the stores of vervain. And then we didn't think once to maybe, I don't know, arm the rest of the people that are like in Elena's orbit with the vervain, namely Caroline, who also was not protected, none of them. So I don't know, but thank God. So thanks, Stefan. Thanks for finally getting there. Anyway.
Wait, you have to say your second note about her getting the vervain.
Oh, no. And if that wasn't enough, our girl Elena, we love her so much. But after, in the exchange, when Stefan kind of gives her the rundown on what she can do with the vervain that he gives her to share with her family and friends, she goes, so much to remember. He literally told her like one or two things about like vervain, and it's not like she doesn't know what it does because like
she's been wearing this necklace.
She's been wearing this necklace, and they've been talking about it. So I don't know what is there to remember, Elena. What is like she just the fact that she says there's so much to remember, and I'm like, what are you what are you talking about? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. She continues to frustrate me and will continue as the episode goes on. I guess this is confirmation that Stelena is officially back together. But I would say, even though, of course, I'm Team Stefan, I feel like things feel maybe too normal between them based off of what's recently transpired. Yeah. Like she's saving, we'll see in the upcoming scenes, like she still is really mad at Jenna. And I'm like, you and Stefan are just like snuggling and talking about vampires. Like what? And then my other big takeaway from this scene is that as someone who grew up in the suburbs, I have never invited a delivery person into my house. And so Brenna, have you?
No. Like I genuinely like that is some crazy stuff. Like I don't recall us ever allowing somebody to cross a threshold of any home that I've lived in, whether it's like one that I was living on under the roof of one of my parents or a residence that I existed in. I don't think there's ever been a time where I'm like, come on in, unless I like know who they are.
Walks away.
And then walk away.
I know it's a small town and all of that, but and I was just thinking of this. It's kind of random, but one of my favorite holiday movies is Home Alone. Mm-hmm. And I think that movie shows you in the early 90s just how much you shouldn't invite randos into your house. It doesn't matter if he's dressed as a police officer. He might be trying to burgle you on Christmas. Exactly. I'm just saying. Exactly. Doesn't matter if he's Joe Pesci or someone else. Don't let him in. Also, just have cash ready.
Just have, also, I mean,
it feels like such a teenage boy thing to do. Be like, Elena takes the pizza and walks away with it.
Like, just some wild stuff. And also, it's just, yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like because back in the day, but it kind of, though, we didn't have Venmo. We didn't have PayPal. You had to have cash. Like if you were ordering delivery, you either, I guess maybe if you did call ahead and pay, but for the most part, I feel like whenever we got delivery, we were handing the person cash. That's what you were doing. So just have that ready at the door. Right. Pay the person and let them be on their way. Right. So, I don't know. Yeah. So crazy.
Yeah. Anyway. So crazy. Moving into our next scene, you're pathetic when you're fishing and you're transparent when you're deflecting. We are at the Salvatore boarding house. Books litter the floor of the library at their house. Stefan follows these bookish breadcrumbs to Damon, who is literally just pulling books off the shelves, flipping through them kind of willy-nilly, and then just tossing them on the ground. Stefan asks his brother what he's looking for, and Damon tells him it doesn't concern him. But Stefan says that putting Elena in harm's way is, in fact, his concern. When Damon asks what Stefan means, he brings up their little road trip to Atlanta. Damon says they had fun. Stefan replies, "You're just bitter because one of us gets to be with the person that we love, and poor Catherine is just out of reach, unless there's another way for you to get into that tomb." He then asks if Bree, R.I.P., said there was another way. The brothers go back and forth before Damon says, "Don't you have school?" The brothers look at one another and Stefan leaves. Damon continues flipping through books. All right. So my only real thought with this is if Damon wants/needs this crystal so badly, why hasn't he tried to compel Bonnie? As far as we know, witches are compellable. We haven't been told that you can't compel witches. So why wouldn't you try, right? Like, he keeps accosting her.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you just try to compel her?
But question about this. So is there another crystal that they can use? Is there another crystal that's going to be in play, or the one, because it's been destroyed at this point. So is there another one, or is it just that?
Well, he had brought up to Bree, like, could we get another crystal?
So
and she had said no, but like, he still needs a witch to try to
do that.
But get a workaround.
Right. Like, he could still compel her regardless to get anything. Like, maybe like to talk, even to figure it out.
Right. So I guess was like, whether it's the crystal or something else involving the tomb, couldn't he just compel her as much as we understand the rules of the universe so far?
Yeah. I mean, I guess my only headcanon sort of thing is that when he does go to try to grab it, it does shock him. So I wonder if there was, when she was actively wearing it, I wonder if there was a way that it was like protecting, like maybe functioning in a way similar to Vervain to keep that from happening. But
who knows?
Who's to say? But so just truly, but it's a fair point though. Like, I mean, sometimes they have these like little loopholes where you're like, couldn't he have just compelled her? So I agree. So, all right, moving right along in our next scene. That's like porn for history teacher. We are at Mystic Falls High. And Alaric gives Jeremy his history paper back, and he got an A. Yay! Go, Jeremy. We're so proud of you. Alaric, seeing his student surprised, tells Jeremy how good his argument was, and he says that Jeremy doesn't actually think he then says he hopes that Jeremy doesn't think there's actually vampires in Mystic Falls, and Jeremy agrees and says there are more animal attacks and missing people and mysterious deaths than any other place in the world in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So like, he just was, I think, chalking it up like the vampire thing, sort of what he was talking with Anna in the last episode. He was like, well, there's just a lot of death and like weird happenings that happen, but that's like kind of what he was basing it on. And then Alaric says it's creative conjecture, which is what got him the A, but not to get caught up in the conspiracy theory of it all. And Jeremy says he will not. As he's getting ready to leave the classroom, Rick stops him, asking if he can borrow Jonathan Gilbert's journal so that he can see a firsthand account of the Civil War, like our first-hand account of the Civil War. So Jeremy gives him the journal, and after he leaves, we see Rick open it. He also does say that looking at a first-handed document is like our title of the scene. That's like porn for a history teacher. So thoughts on this?
Well, thoughts on that phrase, because I know you have thoughts about that.
I mean, just a little inappropriate for a high school teacher to be saying that to
like a 14-year-old boy,
a high school student. That's a weird thing. And Dwight's kind of commentary on that when we were watching together last night when we were doing our final watch through, he was like, he could see that maybe in like a college setting, but definitely not high school. And I have to agree.
Yeah, I agree too. And then I guess my other big question is, what does Alaric want with the Gilbert journal? But I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out, because it seems like this journal has some hot stuff in it.
Yeah, everybody wants the journal in this episode. So moving on to our next scene, lesbian friend necklace, because we're freaky like that. We are still at Mystic Falls High, but we are outside. We see a sign for a 1950s themed school dance. Then Elena and Caroline walk by, and Caroline thanks Elena for the necklace that she just gave her. Our fashionista wannabe, Caroline, is excited that it will go with everything. It is a silver heart-shaped locket. She does, however, want to know what the occasion is. To which Elena says it's just a little friend gift. Caroline makes a joke about it being a lesbian friend necklace and winks at Elena. Elena tells Caroline that her friendship is important to her. shocker to, I think, all of us. And they sit at a table to have lunch.
So true.
Right? It's a shocker to Caroline too, right?
Caroline's also shocked.
Caroline wants to know why Elena's being so mushy. Elena tells her that she noticed Caroline's been avoiding her, and she wanted to let her know that she's okay with whatever's going on between Caroline and Matt. Caroline tells Elena that she's been meaning to talk to her about it, but there isn't much to tell. They've only hung out a few times, but she feels like she and Matt have peaked as friends. Caroline then stops herself, saying that it's weird to talk about this with Elena, and Elena agrees that it is a little weird, but she says that if Caroline and Matt want to be together, it's not really about her. Caroline says, but it's all about you. Matt's not over you, and we all know it. Elena says that she's with Stefan, and Matt knows he needs to move on. Caroline doesn't seem convinced.
Damn. Well,
first off, it's great to see our cosmetology queen again.
100%.
We missed her.
I mean, she just is always just doing the most with her everything.
With everything. And I love, and we'll talk about this as we go deeper in the episode, but for all of Caroline's kind of more annoying traits, I do really appreciate how just forthright she is, right? She literally is like, this is atypical for our friendship. Why are you giving this to me? Why are you treating me like this? And I really applaud her for that, right? And from what we've seen, Elena does not treat her very well. So it does seem kind of surprising. So, but I'm very happy that Elena is finally protecting Caroline because as we've talked about for like 7 episodes now, Caroline is the one who keeps getting roped into things with Damon. He was feeding on her, he's compelling her and puppeting her and almost killed her. And so why aren't we protecting her?
100%. I'm so glad that she's finally protected with her little necklace.
That will go with everything.
That'll go with everything. I wish we had a friend necklace because we're freaky like that.
Yeah, we are. I had to wink.
But I'm one day we're getting matching. We're
probably going to get daylight rings.
We are going to get matching daylight rings. It'll be great.
I also want to say I'm glad that Elena brought up to Caroline the whole Caroline Matt situation and is giving her blessing. But I am over her still not recognizing that Matt is still totally into her. It's so obvious, right? And, Caroline's read on the situation is accurate.
It is absolutely accurate. I mean, he was literally, the second that Elena was, whatever she was doing at career night, when she was having her little side convo with Matt, I mean, he was already kind of fawning over her immediately, when she gave him the time of day. So, he's clearly not over her.
Yeah.
Which is irritating.
Also totally random.
I did see this note and I was like, okay, let's talk about it.
Is it just me or are Elena's eyebrows really painted on this episode?
They are definitely very shaped, for sure.
Very shaped, sharply and dark. So,
and I mean, sometimes it's always interesting to track some of the different makeup choices as they go along. I feel shout out to makeup and hair artists because you are really the true heroes of literally everything. But it's always fun to kind of just when you are watching so closely, seeing the different choices they start making with characters. So nice catch. All right, so on to our next scene. I can start fires with my mind. Fires kill vampires, right? So we're at the grill, and Matt sits at the bar and is filling out an application to work at the grill. Ben, a Mystic Falls High graduate, comes over to chat with him. He's a bartender there and seems to have recently returned to town. Like Matt, he played football for the high school, so the two of them talk about the rough season the football team is having. Matt mentions that they've had to forfeit half of their games.
I love how that cracks you up so much.
Well, because they don't have a coach because he died.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rest in peace, Coach Tanner. He then asks what position Matt is applying for, and he says busboy. Across the room, Elena tells Bonnie about her being adopted over a plate of fries. So casually, by the way. Jesus. Elena says it gets weirder. She looked at her birth certificate and it lists her parents as her birth parents. Bonnie tells her she should ask Jenna and reminds Elena that the Elena she knows would want the truth, good or bad. She also says that after finding out her boyfriend is a vampire, the truth about her parents can't be that bad, which fair.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll see. But Elena changes the subject, saying she needs to go to the store to get accessories for her outfit for the dance and gets up to leave. Bonnie says she'll pay the bill when she stands. Damon is there. He says he wants to start over, and Bonnie brings up that he tried to kill her, and he emphasizes that if he really wanted to, he would have. She threatens him and brings up the fact that she has the power to start fires and can kill him with her mind. She tells him to stay the hell away from her, rightfully. Ben approaches, asking if everything's okay, and Damon says everything's fine, and Ben says that he wasn't talking to him. Damon does a little chuckle and walks away. Bonnie thanks Ben, and he says anytime, tacking her name on the end there. She's surprised he remembers her and tells her he didn't graduate that long ago and that he always knows a pretty face, and Bonnie grins. Oh, my Lord.
We
What a
kind of
time.
have an update about the football team.
Kind of have an update.
Kind of, but we don't know if the games are forfeited because of Mr. Tanner, or are they forfeited because Tyler's MIA, or are they forfeited because Stefan just stopped attending school for a while.
It's like their star players have all just not been there. But here's my actual headcanon. And I was like, do we think that Tyler hasn't been as prominent in our recent episodes because he's coaching the team? And
I mean,
and then
maybe.
he's but not doing a great job, he's trying his best. That's a little bit of a headcanon for you.
I love it.
Yeah. He's just trying to coach the team, and that's why we haven't seen much of him recently.
Yeah, he's just so wiped after practice that he just goes home. No Lockwood special for him.
No Lockwood special.
Oh, I love that.
Also, why does Elena just leave Bonnie to pay the bill? That is
Rude.
so crazy.
You're the one who's telling her your family drama, and you're the one who's eating the fries.
I know. I just was like, why does she? But not even hey, I'll leave you money or whatever. She just goes, okay, I gotta go. And Bonnie just gets on the bill.
Bonnie is the best friend.
Really fuck. Okay, what do you got over here?
Okay. Damon needs to leave Bonnie the hell alone. And I gotta say, I don't agree with the Founders Council on most things, but anytime a new person arrives, I am suspicious. So Ben, I'm watching you.
Truly, immediately sus. And he's also he's cute. So it's I'm just cute.
He's cute in a punchable way.
Cutie on the scene. I'm who are you?
I don't trust you.
No, definitely not trustable.
No.
Trustable?
Trustable.
Not trustable. And you know what? But we kind of said earlier, thankfully they've hired someone else. So maybe that guy that was serving the minors is truly now no longer working there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So on to our next scene, and the cat and mouse game begins. We are in a parking lot somewhere in Mystic Falls, and Elena is walking to her car. She has a shopping bag, so she must have just finished getting accessories for the dance. Her phone rings, and when she answers it, a male voice says, "Hello, Elena." She totally nonchalant asks who it is, and the man replies, "You hit me with your car." Then he asks if this is a new one, making it clear he's watching her. She looks around, finding a man in the shadows approaching her. He tells her she got away from him before, but she won't next time. She gets in her Mini Cooper and drives away.
Dang.
And then a couple of these scenes are shorties. We'll jump into the next one. Yes, I knew your ancestors. They hunted me. So the location is the Salvatore boarding house. Elena goes there after this encounter, and she asks Stefan why the vampire is taunting her instead of trying to kill her. Stefan explains that vampires are predators, and the hunt is often as exciting as the kill. He gives her the vampire compass, which she calls out as Jeremy's pocket watch, and she wants to know how he got it. Stefan explains that he took it from Damon, who took it from Logan, who must have taken it from the Gilberts. Elena clocks that it looks different, pun intended, and Stefan explains that it's not just a watch, it's in fact a vampire compass. He shows her how it works with the arrow pointing to Stefan. She then asks why her father had it, and Stefan tells her that the Gilberts were a founding family and that back in 1864, they were among the humans who sought to eradicate vampires. They used the compass to locate them. She asks if Stefan knew the Gilberts, and he says yes. He tells her he wants her to keep the compass, so this way she'll know if she's in danger from a vamp. They smooch. So, pretty wild that Elena's dating a vampire who her ancestors would have hunted and tried to kill.
Yeah. And much like the Vervain, this compass should be with our human characters. So thanks, Stefan, for arming our more vulnerable characters with things that can help them.
Yes.
Like, how did this not change hands? Like, I don't know. But like, because even when Damon's giving it to Caroline to use, it's like he can't use it because when he's trying to find out, like Logan or whatever, like he's trying, because it sets off on him. So like, just give it back to the humans, man. All right. Anyway, on to our next scene. This scene paints 1,000 words. Location, Mystic Falls High, and we're outside. Caroline and Matt paint a sign for the school dance. She's covered in paint, and he teases that he's never seen her so messy. She responds by putting paint on his arm. They're playful and flirty, and she realizes that she needs to take matters into her own hands with Matt. She tells him that she likes hanging out, and who would have thought the two of them? Who would have thought of the two of them? Meaning like together, and he interrupts saying, who knew she could be fun? Caroline asks what he's wearing to this dumb dance and asks if they should color coordinate. He tells her he's not going because he has to work, and this is the first she's learning about the new job. And when she questions him about being a busboy, he snaps back and tells her that some of us have to work. He tells her with his mom being in and out, money is tight. She tells him she didn't mean it like that, and he's obviously kerfuffled by this, so he says he has to go and walks away. These two. Ugh.
Yeah, they really, really struggle to be on the same page, and it's annoying. But in this scene, you can see there's definite chemistry.
Yeah, for sure. In the beginning of the scene, absolutely.
Yeah, and she looks so cute in her casual painting outfit.
She really does.
Though I don't like his who knew you could be fun?
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Like, who knew that I'm gonna kill you right now, Matt?
Matt, you're on thin ice.
Seriously. I do feel like Caroline is maybe calling it a dumb dance for, to be on Matt's wavelength because she seems like someone who likes a theme.
Oh, yeah.
And
a party.
And a party. So, I that's I clocked that, and I feel like she's trying to speak his language.
100%.
And play it cool.
Yeah, and I hate that because she is obviously an independent queen and doesn't need to pretend like she doesn't have to pretend to not like things because she's cool and interesting on her own. Let's see where they really do struggle to be on the same page. And so how do we feel about Matt's kind of clapping back at her? Because I mean, I can, on one end, we can kind of talk about it together. Like on one end, I can see what Matt means because of the way she says it, but it's one of those razor thin lines where it's like, depending on how you're interpreting it, it could feel offensive, but I think actually she didn't really mean it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like someone being like, who knew you were a vegetarian, right?
Yeah.
But, who knew you were a busboy?
Right.
Kind of thing. So we obviously see she didn't mean it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
But I can see how he takes it that way,
of
right?
Course.
Like you said. But it seems like he has insecurity around money and seems to think that people like Caroline look down upon him. And this is something we saw with his sister, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Vicky really felt like we didn't see it come out until she had transitioned into a vampire, but she thought that Elena looked down on her and didn't think that she was good enough for Jeremy.
Sure.
And so it does seem like this is kind of some work that maybe Matt needs to do
Yeah,
and
for
actually
sure.
has nothing to do with Caroline.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Because, and like, again, I think depending on how you're reading it, but I do genuinely believe in that moment it was more her like way of delivering that was more out of surprise than it was out of like looking down upon, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Next scene, I copped a plea. We are at the grill. Jeremy and Anna are at the grill playing pool, and she asks him about the paper, and he shares that he got an A and thanks her for her articles. She brings up vampires again and asks if his history teacher believed the paper, and he reminds her that he also doesn't really believe in vampires, and this all was just for a paper. He gears up to leave when Anna asks if he wants to hang later, and it's a little pushy, and Jeremy's reluctant. Remember in the last episode, he told her he recently got out of something and he's not in a place to date. So she continues to be pushy. He tells her that he can't hang out because he's serving punch at the Decades dance and copped a plea with his English teacher because he's failing that class as well. Anna pushes again to hang another time and then calls herself out for being pushy, which Jeremy does not deny, and then leaves. This girl.
I am so irritated by Anna. I think like I genuinely think that Anna's worse at being pushy than Jeremy was with Vicky.
Yeah,
like
100%.
In terms of like just trying to like be hanging out and doing stuff. It's just so intense. And I mean, we now know from this episode why, but like, girl.
It's a lot. Also, what's up with her hair?
Right. I know her hair. She
needs to hire Caroline.
Pronto. Help this girl, please. Help her. Oh my gosh.
She needs it.
She does. She really does. On to our next scene, Elena's birth story. We are at the Gilbert Residence. So we open up seeing Jenna, who is dressed for the Decades dance, and informs Elena that her car, like Elena's car, is totaled and that she can keep using hers for now. So the Mini Cooper does belong to Jenna. Fun. Things are tense between these two after the fallout from the previous episode. Jenna tries breaking the ice by telling Elena that Alaric asked her to chaperone with him at the Decades dance after Elena asks if she's going. There's like a whole little like back and forth about that. After this, Elena flat out asks why Jenna never said anything about her being adopted. She told Elena that her mom was going to tell her eventually and that she didn't think she'd be the one to, but with some resistance and pushing from Elena, she shares Elena's birth story, which is that Elena's birth mom was a 16-year-old runaway and approached her dad, who is a doctor, or was a doctor, right before he was about to leave work for the night. And she was about to have the baby, so he helped her, deliver the baby, and the Gilberts gave her a place to stay. But she unfortunately left after a few days and left Elena with them. Elena is confused why her parents are on her birth certificate, but since her dad was a doctor, he was able to take care of it and kept how they adopted Elena pretty quiet. Apparently, they had been trying to have a baby for a while. Elena asks Jenna if she knows anything else about her birth mother, and Jenna shares that her name was Isabel, but that's all she knows. Well, I'm glad that Jenna did offer up this information and finally kind of gave this to Elena. I mean, not that we had a lot of time between learning this information and this episode, but I'm glad that she opened up. But I guess my question to you is, when would be a good, and I don't know, maybe if anyone if you or someone you know is adopted, when is a good time to share that information with someone? Because in my opinion, by high school, I would feel like maybe that would be something you would before high school. I think you would maybe want to share that information with your child. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think younger, as someone who's not adopted, but my read is sooner would be better, just so that there's it kind of removes this level of drama and feelings of betrayal.
Yeah.
Because, now I know every situation is different, but I do know people who are adopted and have siblings, and I don't think I think they just see them as their siblings,
of
you know?
course.
And if you're raised in the same
You're raised in the
house,
same house.
you know, so we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen her talk to Jeremy about it, but we will. That's not a spoiler. It's just kind of a fact. It will come up. And so we'll see kind of what the dynamic between them is, learning that they're not actually siblings by blood. But, you know, I don't think it would change anything for me personally if I found out one of my siblings was adopted. So I think earlier is better.
Of course, absolutely. Like, I just think that makes more sense. You know, it just on me. One of my aunts is adopted. I should have maybe checked in with her and Christy. I know she subscribed to our channel. Thanks for subscribing. But yeah, so I feel like, you know, maybe I feel like even someone like when I like people that I've known in high school or stuff, like who had like they definitely knew like pretty early. So I just think earlier the better.
Yeah.
So kind of tough. And I understand. I do get though, like on Jenna's side of things, like I understand her hesitation.
Absolutely.
We kind of talked about that last episode of just after going through all the stuff that she went through and Jeremy went through losing their parents. Like, I mean, when would be a good time? Like, there is no really good time.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a good time,
For
but
her.
I think sooner would have been better. And I just have to say that Jenna looks so cute in her 50s.
She really
getup.
does. She's adorable.
She looks great. All right, next scene, Diabolical Plan, the sequel. We are at the Salvatore boarding house. Damon is sitting at a desk writing names down on a notepad. The names are Benjamin Lockwood, John Gilbert, Honoria.
That's what we looked it up today.
And William. The surnames of the last two names are obscured by Damon's handwriting, but they seem to be founding family members of Mystic Falls, so we can assume that it's... How are we saying it?
Honoria.
Honoria. Oh, I remember that. Honoria Fells and William Forbes. Stefan approaches and Damon says he got the hair right, in reference to Stefan's 50s styled hair, which I will say I don't think it looks any different.
Wait, my favorite thing, just like brief side, I know we're not in the thoughts section yet, but truly when Damon says the line of being like, well, you certainly got the hair right, or whatever he says, I'm like, I was like, his hair doesn't look any different. It just looks like his like stiff angel hair.
Right,
like,
I don't understand.
Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page with that.
Stefan flops a journal onto the desk and Damon asks why he's giving him their father's journal. And Stefan says because he knows that Damon was looking for it. Damon shrugs this off, and Stefan clarifies by saying that there's no information about Catherine, the tomb, or how to open it inside their father's journal. Stefan apologizes how not having this information is ruining Damon's diabolical plan, the sequel, and offers to help him, which Damon is, of course, skeptical of. But Stefan goes on to share that he wants Damon to get away from this town, so if helping him get Catherine out of the tomb, not releasing the other 26 vampires, just Catherine, that Stefan will help him. Damon is still skeptical of this and questions Stefan's angle and why he should trust him. And Stefan tells him that Damon's issue is that he applies all of Damon's shortcomings to others.
Just interesting exchange between these two here. My first thought is Honoria is a baller name.
Yeah, it's fire.
And it's just such a cool name, and disappointing that she's a Fell because that means that
she's really into Logan.
Scumfell.
He's her spawn.
Scumfell is a descendant of a woman with a baller name. Unfortunate stuff. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's really cool. And I like just him, Damon, like doing kind of this like ancestral research and trying to like figure some stuff out. It's kind of fun. His little sleuthing.
Yeah, and Stefan's just really on fire with his comments, and I love it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, here we go. Next scene, pre-dance snack. We're at the Gilbert Residence. That's really funny. Okay, so Elena is getting ready for the dance with her 50s fit and bump it. I tried really hard to recreate the look. Not that hard actually. I just jammed bobby pins in my head and just was trying to look
but it looks great.
Thank you. But she notices I got ahead of myself because I was getting wrapped up in my own bump it. But
it's hard to not get lost in that volume.
Just the volume, which we will talk about in a later scene. as she's getting ready, we cut back and forth to her doing her hair and the vampire compass that's like on her bed. And we do notice as it's kind of going back and forth that it's starting to move, signaling a vampire must be nearby. But since Elena is occupied, she's not seeing this. Eventually, she finishes up in the bathroom. She moves into her room to get a scarf and calls out for Jenna. She notices the compass is moving and immediately calls Stefan, but Damon smugly picks up and tells her that Stefan forgot his phone and informs her that he's on his way over to her. As she rushes down the stairs, she's relieved to know that Stefan must be at the house since the compass is going off, but oops! We see Noah hiding in the ceiling. Which is real creepy, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
After she hangs up with Damon, Noah jumps down to attack her, but Stefan is also there and calls out to her and fights off Noah. Noah vamp speeds away. Elena runs into Stefan's arms, terrified, understandably, because that's pretty freaky, just having someone descend from your ceiling. And we cut to a commercial break. Commercial break. But then when we get back, Damon is now also at the Gilbert residence and is asking how Noah got in. Elena tells him that he was invited and pretended to be a pizza delivery guy. And also Jeremy fucking invited this guy in, which is a no-no.
But he doesn't know.
He doesn't know, but also, again, maybe just
know.
don't invite any delivery person in your home. Okay,
Yeah.
Anyway. Elena asks if there's more than one vampire, and Damon says he doesn't know. Stefan stresses to Damon that he's been invited in, and they agree they have to get him tonight. He asks if Elena's up for it, presumably to be used as bait so they can eliminate the vampire. She agrees to go to the dance, and they'll see who shows up. Stefan is concerned, but Elena assures that she'll be okay because she'll be with the two of them.
Important question.
Yes.
Do we think Elena borrowed her scarf hanger and scarf from Caroline?
1,000%. Caroline really, she might not always have the best tact, but she does always have all the right things.
All the best accessories.
All the best accessories. She's just got it going on.
Yeah, I agree.
While Damon has a long way to redeem himself, I do like that he's showing up for his brother and Elena in this moment and like being pretty committed to eliminating this vampire that's been invited in, even though he's an equally dangerous vampire that's been invited in
Yes.
to the home. Okay, so.
All right. Our next scene, let's go vampire hunting at the Decade Dance. We are at Mystic Falls High. We're at the Decade Dance! And everyone's dancing to a cover of This Magic Moment by the Misfits. We see Caroline and her, in all caps for us, elegant updo, dancing it up, and we also get a shot of Bonnie also rocking a beautiful do and dancing with Caroline. The school is all decorated with balloons, hanging stars, records, and a disco ball. They also have an old movie playing in the background, which is likely from the 50s. Across the room, Elena enters the dance arm in arm with Stefan and Damon. Alaric sees Damon and tenses up. He breaks his focus when Jenna interrupts him. We learn she's a sucker for the Decade Dance and that she also went to Mystic Falls High. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that the school does 60s and 70s dances too.
I wish that was like those are fun. I mean, this is fun dressing up like the 50s, but 60s and 70s fun stuff going on there. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, we may or may not get to dress up.
Is there another one?
Yeah.
I forgot.
There's 100% another
Oh,
one.
hell yeah. Let's go. All right.
Alaric offers to get her some punch. They make their way over to get a drink. Across the room, Elena's standing by a table and looking around nervously until Caroline and Bonnie approach her. She asks if they're having fun, and Caroline says no. But her look took 2 hours, so she needs to stay for at least half of that. Bonnie asks what Damon is doing at the dance. Elena lies and says he wanted to come, and she promises he'll behave. Caroline snidely asks Elena if her, Stefan, and Damon are a threesome now. I mean, honestly, her read is always accurate. She says if she's going to be with Stefan, she has to... Oh, Elena says if she's going to be with Stefan, she has to learn to tolerate Damon. And she goes, it's not like I can kill him. And then Bonnie responds, there's a thought. And Caroline says, I'll help. And they clink glasses. Amazing. Elena smiles and shakes her head. We move back to Jenna and Alaric, and she tells him she's seeing a change in Jeremy finally. Alaric sympathizes with Jeremy about loss, trauma, and grief, and Jenna acknowledges Rick's own loss and asks about his wife again, which I still think is kind of weird.
Yeah.
She does say, like, is it okay to talk about her? And says that it must be impossible to deal with not having answers around her death. He agrees, looking right at Damon, and says he hopes one day to have answers. We then move back over to Bonnie and Caroline as Damon approaches and tries to give him and Bonnie, and tries to get Bonnie to dance with him.
What, like, okay, can we just like mini pause for 1 second?
Mhm.
Like, what is this like Damon trying like to gain Bonnie's favor? I mean, I guess maybe because
I think he needs a witch for whatever he's trying to do.
So he's just trying to like that's what he's playing at.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why is he being so like laying it on thick with her? But I guess that makes sense.
I
She
think
is the
that's what it
closest.
is.
She's the closest witch that is around. So he would
Yes.
want to be in her good graces. But gosh, dang it, he's really trying too hard.
Yeah. She says she's out of here, and Damon asks for her to give him another chance, but she's not having it. Caroline adds a back off Damon, and they leave him standing there. Then Elena comes up with Stefan, and in another dumb question is like, where'd they go? Elena, they just told you they want to kill
I
him.
literally hate him for very viable
Right.
reasons.
And I love Stefan just going like, what did you say to them, Damon?
Yeah,
You
like
know?
Stefan's quick on the uptake.
Damon says he was perfectly polite. He then asks Elena if she'd like to dance. And I love this.
This is fun.
She says she'd love to, but then she turns to Stefan and asks if he will dance with her. Raises her eyebrows at Damon, and she hits the dance floor with Stefan, leaving Damon alone. We follow Stefan and Elena to the dance floor and move past them to see Noah in a hoodie staring Stelena down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. We got to just really start here with Caroline. You really outdid yourself with your hair, girl.
Yeah, she did.
Incredible stuff.
Looks so good.
It looks so good. And you know that she definitely probably also helped Bonnie's hair as well. Because Bonnie's hair also looks amazing.
So good.
Her bangs look so cute.
So cute.
Those two, I mean, they're really doing the most in like this, like the scene, like the parts of the scenes that they're in this scene. Elena's grand entrance with the brothers is like such a freaking vibe. It just feels very like the show announcing what the show is about.
Feels a little Catherine.
Feels also very Catherine. Oh my goodness, you're right. So my other question is, how can Damon just be at the school dance?
There are no rules. You know that.
No rules.
No rules. Oh, no. I think he's just pretending to be a chaperone.
Yeah.
But honestly, no one cares. So, except us.
Except I care. I would care about,
and
like,
Bonnie and Caroline care.
They also care. Oh, my goodness. But I am also just, like, absolutely obsessed with the two of them being united in their hate for Damon. It's just so good.
I love when our girls don't fight.
And
when they look hot and they're just like want to murder Damon. I ship that.
Bonnie and Caroline are actually like a great little dynamic duo, don't you think? Like,
they are.
They're great. And I'll give props to Elena even after like that exchange. She does kind of like smile and like gracefully take the snidey stuff, like, and because I mean I think Elena agrees, but I think for the sake of Stefan, she's definitely trying to, again, like she said, tolerate Damon. But I do appreciate that she can understand why her friends are, even if she had to ask in
where'd they go,
why did they leave. I'm like, what?
I do think I agree. I do think it's super rude of Damon to acknowledge Bonnie and not even acknowledge Caroline. And like, obviously we were kind of trying to figure out why he's laying it on so thick with her. But it seems to be, like we said, probably because he needs a witch. But then like, I just think that's rude. And I find it kind of weird that when Jenna asks about Rick's wife, he says there's not a lot to tell. Like, obviously you're still grieving her death, and like, and yet you and Jenna keep talking about her. So why don't you talk about what she was like when she was alive?
Yeah.
Instead of just talking about the cold case of her murder.
For sure. It just feels very like weird. Like, let's talk about the worst part of this whole thing.
There's not much to tell about this person that I'm still clearly obsessing over.
Yeah, and like a very like, and we know from our previous episode, like we know that they were clear. I mean, he was clearly very in love with her. Like we saw like their affection. So yeah, there should be other things you like about her other than how she.
Yeah, it's also this thing of like we don't actually know exactly when she died. Like. Yeah. My guess is it's been a couple years, but then it also seems super fresh. So it's like, it's just kind of confusing. But for him to have done all the research he's done, it seems like it had to have been time, right?
Yeah.
And then my last thought about this scene is Noah in the black hoodie just does not feel super sneaky at a 1950s decade dance.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
So, Noah, well, we got more to say about you. But as we move on, pompadours, poodle skirts, and punch. We are still at Mystic Falls High and still at the dance. So Stefan and Elena are slow dancing together while Stefan is, looking around, scanning the scene. Elena asks if they are able to sense other vampires, but he says no and asks if she's seen him. And she says, not unless he has a pompadour.
Which would have been a good disguise.
Which would have been a great disguise other than a hoodie. You're right. Stefan says that look wasn't one of the better fashion trends, and Elena asks him more about the 50s. She says she says that that Stefan probably would have looked great back then, and asks if there were any pictures, and he says no. And she continues to ask about what the 50s were like, citing in her mind that to her it's somewhere between American Bandstand and Grease, and all varsity sweaters and milkshakes. And then, of course, Stefan, our true history buff, adds, and McCarthyism, segregation, and the nuclear arms race. Elena brushes this off and asks if there were poodle skirts. I'm like,
real talk. Why does he like her?
I know. I'm like, I have thoughts about this.
He loves history. He's cultured. He went to Harvard.
But are there poodle skirts?
This girl can't even keep basic facts in her head.
No. And tells Stefan that she does, but more importantly than overlooking the darker themes of the times, she goes, Stefan, you need to teach me how to learn the hand jive. I'm like, girl, what? He says no. He says no, which honestly appropriate. And keeps scanning the room, and we see Jeremy. We move. I'm just laughing at okay. Elena! I just can't with her in this episode. We move over to Jeremy, who's tending to the punch, when Anna, another one who I just cannot with this episode, approaches him, and he is confused why she's there. I agree, Jeremy. I'm also confused, and calls her out for pretending they're dating, and she tries brushing it off because she's never been to a dance before. My God. Okay. I looked up what a pompadour was because I didn't know, and it is a hairstyle with prominent volume, as you can see here. I didn't know. Did you know that? I did not know that was the term, what it was, but I wasn't familiar.
I did, but it was helpful to look it back up. It's been a minute.
Yeah, because I was like, I didn't know. But okay, again, just touching on Elena glossing over the more, less than ideal or upsetting aspects of the 50s is so her.
It's so her.
It's so her.
It's so her.
Like, that was when I was writing the note after, like, writing it, the scene. I just said, it's so her.
It's so her, yeah.
But how about, but Stefan?
Oh, yeah. I love him.
He's great.
Period.
He's just actually bringing stuff up. Yeah. So, and I love that Stefan actually is just grounded. He did go to Harvard after all. But anyway, Anna
lived through this shit.
He did live through this shit. So he knows firsthand. But you know who I don't understand? Anna. Why? Where's the security in the school? Clearly not present, since anyone can cosplay as a chaperone or a student. Okay, so this is where I feel like I'm spiraling in this episode because of some of the egregious shit that's going on here. So my question to you is, Christina, did you have to like sign into your school dance? Like when you had school dances, like did they have a sign in? Like did you have to do that or have some kind of like ticket or entry point or anything that would have like admitted you into the dance? Because like if I recall, I feel like that was a thing.
I feel like when I was like younger, like middle school, we
Yeah.
needed to sign in. I don't know if we needed to sign in high school, but like
Maybe not
there
to like
were chaperones
Yeah.
out there and everyone knew you because it was your teachers. And I think there were like homecoming and there were
Yeah.
definitely prom tickets.
right.
And we also had chaperones like everywhere
Yeah.
watching our behavior.
Yeah, well, I feel like, because I think we probably both have gone to, like, mixers or, like,
Mhm.
CYO dances or stuff like that. I feel like those were a little more lax, of
A
course.
little
Like,
more loosey
they
goosey,
were definitely
a little
loosey-goosey.
more club like.
Those, like, Malvern and prep mixers.
Oof.
Crazy.
Times. We
but
may have been at some of
I
those
think we
at
were.
the same time.
That's so crazy to me. But yeah, so, like, that just to me, like, for one of the more formal dances, which this feels, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, I guess maybe it could be categorized as, like, a lesser dance because it's not, like, a prom or a formal, but it still feels like something that maybe people would be signing in for, right? Like, or at least having, like, I mean, I guess Alaric was able to willy-nilly just invite Jenna, so I guess they are real lax about it, so.
Yeah,
But at least
I
he's a
also,
teacher.
like, when is this taking place? Like, are we still technically, I guess we're still in November. So this is an interesting dance to have, like, before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have questions. But you know what? My last real thought about this scene is I'm proud of Jeremy for having boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for Jeremy.
Our next scene is called Post-Dance Disses, and we're at the grill. Matt's application to work at the grill was successful, and he's working as a busboy. Caroline and Bonnie walk into the grill after bouncing from the decade dance. Bonnie says they should sit up there, gesturing over to the bar area, which kids should not be able to do, but that's where the cute bartender is. Caroline calls her out on this and makes a remark about the bartender, Ben, being a washed-up jock who pours drinks for a living and that she could do better. Matt is behind them and he overhears this. And when Caroline says hi to him, he brushes her off with a curt, "What's up?" and keeps walking past them.
Caroline, girl, we got to work on your tact. There's nothing wrong with making money however you can.
Absolutely.
As you figure things out. So that's like this, unlike the previous scene where her commentary doesn't feel very pointed, this obviously is pointed and is not very kind.
Yes, I agree. And these two are just truly never on the same page.
No, never. And they're just, I don't know. I'm not sure if I ship them. I don't think I do.
I don't.
Okay, so in our next scene, the cursed faculty position, we are back at Mystic Falls High. And we are with Elena and Stefan once more, dancing and genuinely enjoying themselves, which is very sweet. Damon watches them from across the dance floor when he's approached by Alaric. Despite knowing Damon's true nature from the previous episode's reveal, he plays coy and asks Damon how he got roped into chaperoning and introduces himself as the new history teacher. Damon introduces himself as well, and Rick connects him to Stefan and seems to be aware of who Stefan is despite never teaching him. And then Damon, they kind of like go back and forth, and Damon says that Stefan's attendance has been like spotty due to family drama and shares that he is Stefan's guardian and it's just the two of them. Alaric lightly presses Damon for more information about them, which Damon clocks, and Alaric notices this. He apologizes for being nosy and they part ways. Well, I'm Elena and Stefan, first of all, are seeming to be having a lot of fun despite someone is definitely trying to harm her, which I feel like is equal parts. I'm concerned and I'm also like, it's nice that they're having a fun time. Yeah. Like I feel 50-50 either way. What about you?
I agree. 100% 50-50.
And then Rick's playing a pretty interesting game. And like, as always, Damon forever, like the quick quick calculator. He's probably the quickest calculator of all of them here. And he definitely notices that Alaric is up to something.
Yeah, he's not being particularly subtle.
No. Well, yeah, Rick's just being, I mean, he's also just like kind of like the way he's doing it. And I like how Matt Davis is doing it. Like, he's kind of like, oh, like just trying to get Damon to talk.
And he like recovers pretty well, but it's still.
Yeah. Good acting from the both of them, too.
Yes. Our next scene, Bonnie the Bold. We are back at the grill. Caroline and Bonnie are sitting at a table. Caroline is upset from her interaction with Matt. And Bonnie encourages her to talk to him and be bold and fearless. And all while Bonnie's still making eyes at the bartender. Caroline makes another snide remark about Bonnie eye stalking Ben. But instead of getting upset by this, Bonnie takes her own advice to talk to Ben and leaves Caroline at the table. She approaches the bar to say hi to him, and he says he's happy to have run into her twice in one day. She says she's proving something to her friend and that she doesn't have to wait for a guy to come up to her. He asks if she's asking him out on a date, and she asks if he would like her to. It's very cute.
It's very cute.
She then asks if he likes karaoke, but Ben admits he doesn't, but he would really like to go on a date with her. And they're both being very flirty.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Caroline is pouting at the table. And as Matt crosses her path, still ignoring her, she says, "Seriously?" to him.
I love her.
She's so direct. I love it.
Direct.
Matt asks if she's talking to him, and she confirms this, saying he's the only one in the vicinity, and asks if he's mad at her, and he says no. So she presses to ask why he's being so weird, and he says he's working and has a table to clean because that's what wash-up jocks do to make a living. Caroline realizes he overheard her remark and sighs.
Yeah. Tough stuff over here with these two. Proud of our girl Bond for going for what she wants instead of helping everyone else for once, though. I'm like genuinely proud of her. I love her so much.
Yes.
This was like so great for her to finally get a little romantic action, because I feel like these other two have definitely both have had some romantic interlude, and she just really hasn't yet. Like this is maybe I think the first time we've seen it.
Yeah.
So good on you,
nice.
Bonnie.
That's nice. Matt definitely needs to work on his communication skills. Obviously, Caroline's comment was rude and ignorant. But like, she obviously didn't mean it towards him. And we'll see, she literally says this in an upcoming theme of like, she says things and then like her mouth says things before she can think it through. Right. Yeah. And then she has to apologize and take it back.
Yeah.
And like, I don't applaud, obviously, comments like that in general. I don't think that's cool, like you said. However, you need to make money is an honorable way to make money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And as we've definitely talked about when Vicky was working at the Grill, like none of these kids work. And that blows my mind because I started like walking my neighbor's dogs by the time I was 8. And as soon as I was like legally old enough to get a real job, I worked at a restaurant.
Oh, 100%. I remember printing out little flyers to like hand out for like also doing like pet sitting. And then when I was old enough to like watch smaller children, I was probably like 12, 13. Like I was babysitting and then just continually also just trying to like find ways to work along the way. Like, so strange to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's strange to me too. But I do appreciate that she's so direct and she doesn't deal in subtext. I think that's refreshing in general, but especially for a teenage girl.
For sure.
And then, just a note for us, if we decide to ask Bonnie out on a date, the girl likes karaoke.
I would love to go do karaoke with Bonnie.
/ Cat Grim.
And Cat, she's an incredible singer, so Cat Grim, she'd just blow us out of the water, but hey, you know what? I'm here for it. So my question to you is go-to karaoke song. Do you have one?
Well, so when I was in college, I did actually attend a weekly karaoke for a while at this dive bar. And I either did NSYNC.
Of course.
Or Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back.
I love that. That was
I
crazy.
feel like if I were to do it now, I might want something like Paramore, something
Yeah.
that I can just like really like scream it out.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be fun. What about you?
Yeah. The one thing I feel like you want to do is like always pick something that's like a crowd pleaser, like the people like want to hear. So I always try to like think about that whenever I'm doing like one that people know, because I think that gets the general crowd excited, or at least that's how I've approached karaoke these days. I have done Lip Gloss by Lil Mama.
Amazing.
When I was like I forget, I was pretty young. But then I don't know. Yeah, it was a while ago. But other than that, like Disney songs, I feel like
Love.
if I really wanted to do like a true karaoke song, I mean, and with one that I actually would like, it would probably be some musical song but then people wouldn't want to hear it. So it'd be like Rent, and people don't want to do unless I was there with other people that specifically do musical theater. I don't think anyone would want to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't know, unless you all feel differently, but I feel like that's not the vibe most of the time at those bars. They want to hear like Mr. Brightside.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
So anyway, on to our next scene. You mean we did all of this dancing for nothing? Oh, the horror. We are back at Mystic Falls High. We're at the dance, and Anna is helping Jeremy with the punch by bringing cups. I mean, at least she's being useful, I guess. He tells her that she doesn't have to help since she doesn't go to school here. I can't. I'm like losing my shit over this episode. She doesn't mind, and she says she doesn't mind, and that being at a dance is fun, and then jumps to immediately asking about the ancestor journal, like his ancestor journal. Like, girl, what? Jeremy responds that he doesn't have it because he lent it to Alaric, and Anna starts getting very cagey about borrowing it and getting it back from him. Understandably, Jeremy's confused at like her persistence around this and what the big deal is about the journal. And then as things kind of escalate, Anna starts to vamp out. Okay, this is starting to make more sense. Jeremy asks what's wrong with her eye, just one singular eye, which I thought was kind of funny when I was listening, because I was like, when I was reading our notes and then rewatched the episode, he just says, what's wrong with your eye? But it's happening to both of her eyes,
Right.
but that's okay. And she says something's in it and walks away. I love there's something in my eye. Hit him with the old, there's something in my eye.
There's just like veins down to here.
But there's something in their eye. Like, because Stefan's used this line as well.
He sure has, but at least he was chopping garlic.
Yeah. And eating mozzarella.
An onion. Yeah, and mozzarella.
On the dance floor, Elena and Stefan are slow dancing. Very cute. They're wondering if the vamp pursuing her is going to show, but clearly they're still having a nice time as they're kind of waiting around. Stefan apologizes for all of this, but Elena says it was her choice to be here. The song changes over to Great Balls of Fire, also performed by the Misfits. So yeah, like for the purposes, like for this episode, a lot of these songs that are like probably popular songs of the time or songs from the past, they're all mostly covers, which I don't know if that's like a rights thing, so they don't have to maybe like pay as much money to use them in the episode or whatever it is. But anyway, that was just something I was thinking about. I figured I'd call it out here. But yeah, so Elena asks Stefan once again to as Great Balls of Fire starts playing, to show her how it was done in the 50s, and he denies her again. But then all of a sudden sweeps her off her feet and does a fun dance move where he dips Elena by picking her up on both sides of his body, kind of like doing this like little, like what I was calling like a seesaw move, sort of. I don't know. And she's like clearly obviously thrilled for like Stefan's kind of like change of heart, and but once the move is over, he says that she needs to remember it because it's never happening again, and then they kiss. Very cute. Okay. Anna is unsurprisingly a vampire and horrible at being pushy to get this journal. She's so sloppy.
She's so sloppy. I also have to say, I kept thinking about this in this episode, that Anna hanging / stalking Jeremy and helping with the punch station feels very, he's just not that into you. I love that movie. Jennifer Goodwin attends a party hosted by Justin Long, and at that point she's crushing on him and he just sees her as a friend. But she takes over all the hosting duties, like is getting people more beer and is refilling the chips and like is cleaning things up, and it's like he doesn't, and then she like stays to the end because she thinks something's going to happen between them, and it's very cringeworthy and sad, but then, you know, they end up together at the end of the movie, so it's like, it's cute. But I just kept thinking of that when she was like, I can help, and he's like, you don't even go here.
Yeah.
She doesn't even go
She
here.
doesn't even go here. But I have to say, just for any younger listeners or people who are dating, because Christina and I are both married, but so we're not out there
The
in
old married folk.
the old married we're not out there in those dating streets these days. But I will just say, like, if someone is giving you like nothing, do not just don't try. Like, just leave them alone, because obviously they're not worth your time if they're not making any time for you. So is all I have to say.
Absolutely.
Just walk away from them.
Yes.
But
you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Oh no, I think we pretty much got everything except for this one.
Yeah, it's just cute seeing Stefan and Elena having fun, you know, and as we already said, like, minus the murderous vamp, this is like a very cute date or high school moment for
sure.
them.
For sure.
So moving into our next scene, she looks like Catherine. We are still at the high school, but we are in a hallway. Anna is walking down the hall, which we can assume is in pursuit of the journal. She sees Noah on the other end. He vamp speeds over to her and asks what she's doing there. And she says sticking to the plan to get the journal, which is something he's not doing. She tells him to leave Elena alone. He says he's just having fun playing with her until they open the tomb because she looks like Catherine. Anna says she's not Catherine and that Catherine's in the tomb and to not be stupid around the Salvatore brothers. Noah disregards Anna's warning, sharing he's not worried about the brothers and never has been. So a little flash from the past. She pleads with him to not do this or he'll ruin everything. He says he won't let anything happen to her by that, Anna, and to let him have his fun. Yeah.
Noah, you're more of an idiot than Anna. It seems not all vampires are great schemers or have diabolical plans in place, because these two are just not great.
Yeah, they're not great. So, you know, lots of juicy tidbits we're getting here. Not only is Anna a vampire, but she's working with this other vampire to try to get into the tomb. So there's a plan in place. The plot is thickening.
All right. Next scene. When a vampire calls. That's a good one. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, that's good. All right, we're at Mystic Falls still, but we're back at the dance. And there is a cover of My Boyfriend's Back, played by the Ravenettes. And Damon is on the dance floor with a student.
Grabbing some ass.
I have questions. Not only yours. Okay, I don't know. I can't even litigate this further. It's just there's just so many things wrong. We pan over to Stefan and Elena, and she makes a comment about not being able to take Damon anywhere, and he says no.
You really can't.
No, you can't. As Elena's smiling and looking around at the dance, she spots Noah in his hoodie and alerts Stefan that he's in the back corner. He tells her to go get Damon as he pursues him. Stefan turns a corner in the halls and pushes who he thinks to be Noah into the lockers, and it turns out that Noah gave a kid his sweatshirt as a decoy. Back inside the dance, Elena is looking for Damon until she gets a call on her phone, and it's Noah, instructing her to exit the room. She says no at first, but then he threatens Jeremy, so she obliges and runs through the door and continues to walk through the hallway, but gets stuck at a locked door as Noah pursues. She runs through another door, which is the cafeteria, and Noah follows her in. She tries to escape, but he grabs her hair, which is wild. He just yanks that hair as she attempts to fight him off and throws her onto a table. She rolls off and grabs some pencils while Noah grabs her again, and she pushes her against the wall, ready to bite her, but she lodges pencils into his stomach. Creative. She tries to go for him again with another pencil that goes through his hand, and she keeps fighting. As he tries to remove the other pencil, Elena grabs the mop and like a mop that's like in the corner in one of the little basins, and she successfully breaks it, which is
It's impressive.
Pretty impressive, honestly, to stake him with. And as she goes to attack him, he catches her and throws the stake to the side and then moves in to bite her. She starts screaming, and luckily Stefan to the rescue once again arrives to throw him off, and Damon grabs his attention with the mop stake in hand. So now Damon has it, and he says to Noah that they just want to talk, but he lunges to attack Elena instead. And in a very impressive 1-2 move, Damon throws the stake to Stefan, who catches it and then stakes Noah right below the heart to see if he'll talk. So
all of that football practice is really helping these two from the previous episode.
Look at these little athletes. They're really going for it. And just, you gotta love the classic, like, we're staking but not staking the vampire thing. That's something that we're just going to keep seeing through the series, but it's always fun when you see it because it's just right underneath. But as Stefan gets that in there, Noah says, "Screw you," and Stefan lodges the wood deeper into him. He asks why, Stefan asks why Noah's doing this, and he responds, "Because it's fun." Stefan asks again what he wants with Elena, and he says, "She looks like Catherine." God. Damon is surprised to learn that Noah knows who Catherine is, and Noah weakly remarks how the brothers thought they were the only ones, and that they don't even remember him. Interesting. Damon then asks how to get into the tomb, and Stefan wedges the stake in a little deeper. Noah finally says the grimoire, and Damon asks where it is, and Stefan moves the stake again, and Noah says to check Jonathan Gilbert's journal. Interesting.
Everybody wants this journal.
Through this, we also catch a glimpse of Anna looking into the cafeteria at the scene. Stefan asks who else is working with him, and he does not respond. Outside, Anna vamp speeds away to hide as Alaric rounds the corner, and inside the cafeteria, Noah says they're going to have to kill him. Damon and Stefan exchange looks, and Stefan takes out the stake only to plunge it back into Noah's chest, killing him this time. Exasperated, Elena asks what they are going to do about the other potential vampires now, like, since they've killed the only other vampire they've seen. But Damon says that he had to die, and Stefan reminds her because he had been invited to the house. The trio hears rumblings outside of the cafeteria, which is Rick, and who is definitely inspecting what's going on, and Damon goes outside to handle him.
So we already talked about the grab ass.
Yeah, we did.
I do love seeing Elena fighting back, and she seems pretty confident. Though of course she has to be saved, which frustrates me.
Just frustrating, but she was holding it down for like a little bit. I gotta give her props.
I give her props too, and then I just love our brothers working together.
Me too. I mean, I really genuinely loved. I did not. I was actually. She surprised. I mean, for all the like dumb crap she's been doing, she really did surprise me with the like breaking the mop. Truly. And the pencil work.
Right.
Great pencil work.
Our next scene is hallway chats, lies, and scheming. We are in the hallway in the high school. Damon approaches Rick and asks what he's doing, and Rick says looking for Miss Hilden, whoever that is.
Who's this teacher?
Maybe
we don't know
she's
her.
The math teacher?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Could be.
Damon asks what he's doing in Mystic Falls, and Rick replies that he got a job as a teacher. It seems that Damon is compelling Rick for this information to assess his purpose after sensing that something was off with him earlier in the evening. Damon asks if Alaric knows what he is, and Alaric replies that Damon is his student's brother. Damon asks Alaric if he's telling the truth. Rick says yes. Satisfied with his answers, Damon lets Rick go on his way and says to forget this conversation, and then Damon walks off. After he's gone, we see Rick blinking his eyes and looking down into his hand where he's holding Vervain, successfully avoiding and pretending to be under Damon's compulsion.
Dang.
And he looks really like scared. His hand shaking, everything. Stefan and Damon are in another hallway debriefing the night's events. Damon doesn't think Noah's working alone, and Stefan wonders why, because Damon, is working alone to open the tomb. They discuss the grimoire, and Stefan correctly confirms it's Emily's and what Damon needs to open the tomb. We learn via Stefan that the founding families discovered Emily was a witch, took all of her things, and burned her. And he puts together that's why Damon was looking through their father's journal looking for answers on where they hid her grimoire. Damon confirms this, and Stefan offers once more to help Damon with opening the tomb to get Catherine out so he can leave Mystic Falls. Damon's still uneasy to trust Stefan, but Stefan says he should trust him because he's his brother and that he wants him gone. Damon says, okay.
Sneaky stuff from Alaric. I actually really love this because it shows the true fear of somebody who is definitely tempting fate here by standing up to a vampire and like being very secretive around, like, because he clearly has done his research on what works with vampire stuff. And I really do like, because it's just like you said, he's shaking, he's like blinking his eyes. It's all very good.
We don't know who Miss Hilden is, but I don't think we'll ever find out.
I don't think we will either.
And then there's a real gloss over here, right?
Yeah.
That the fact that Emily was hunted as a witch and burned, this is a very real historical reality for women, people of color, impoverished people, and anyone living on the margins. And we are going to talk more about both grimoires and witch hunts in our folklore section. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned because there's a lot of good stuff. Christina did a really good job at looking into that this week.
Because I actually like history, unlike 90% of the characters in the show.
It's not just about, you mean witches isn't just about tarot cards and pentagrams?
I'm shocked.
It's much deeper and political than that?
What?
Oh no, who would have thought?
The horrors.
The horrors. Can't wait to get into it, so stay tuned for that, like Christina said. So we're almost nearing the end of our episode with our next scene, Going, Gone. We're at Mystic Falls Grill. Caroline tries to apologize to Matt and says she wasn't even talking about him in reference to the commentary about Ben. But Matt points out that he could easily become Ben. And Caroline is upset by him not wanting to work this out and says that she knows she has work to do with around how she says things. Matt asks for them to not do this right now, so Caroline asks when he's done work. Matt goes on to say that what they have is good, and he knows Caroline wants to take the next step. And she asks how could he know that because he's never asked her. He then admits he's not over Elena or isn't sure if he is, and he doesn't want to put what he and Caroline have in jeopardy because it's the only good thing he has going right now and doesn't want to disappoint her. Oh my God, I roll. Caroline is understandably upset by this admission and how Matt's played everything out and decided to bail before giving them a shot. She says not to worry about losing it because it's already gone, and she walks away and out of the grill.
That's my girl.
Yeah, girl. Don't take that.
She is truly the clarity queen.
She really is.
This is such a great example of how mature and emotionally intelligent she is and how she's a lot more self-aware than she may come across. And also, she's, for a person he doesn't think respects the fact that he has to work, I think it's very mature of her, and also like respecting a boundary, being like, okay, so you're at work, you can't talk right now. When do you get off? When can we talk?
Yeah, right? I love that. You saying Clarity Queen just made me think of her. I was like, oh my gosh, is she the Queen of Swords? Yeah. From tarot? And then Bonnie's like the Queen of Wands.
Yeah.
Elena's
not a queen.
She has to work her way up.
She might be the Fool. No, she'd be something else, but
well, TBD on her standing. But I do like those for both of them, those two, because they are queens and I love them.
They are. All right. Our next scene is called Isabel, and we are at the Gilbert residence. Jenna and Rick are walking up to the house, and Jenna hands Rick his jacket since it seems they walked home. He thanks her for coming and says that she made his night. She says she's glad to have helped, and Alaric also thanks her for hearing him talk about his deceased wife because it doesn't bode well for dating.
Well, I'm sorry. Jenna was definitely the one talking about.
I know, she keeps asking him about it.
Okay.
She asks him if the dance was a date, and he says no, but then proceeds to ask her out on a date for this upcoming Friday for dinner and a movie. She agrees and reassures him that he can talk about his wife all he wants because it takes time to heal and they can just be themselves. While Rick is flattered, he says he wants to keep the Isabel talk to a minimum, and Jenna has a flash of recognition on her face. She confirms with Alaric that his wife's name was Isabel and asks where she was from, and he says, not far from here in Virginia. Jenna is making a connection that this might be Elena's birth mother.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. What do we think about this relationship? I know you've been shipping it.
I'm loving this budding romance.
Yeah.
I love them. I'm really here for it. I know that we originally were having some reservations just given the fact that Jeremy is in school and there's just a little bit that murky waters there. And then I don't think this has been said on cam yet, but I don't know, maybe we've talked about it in a previous episode since Alaric's been here. But I know Dwight was like, no, it's definitely an aunt thing to do to date a teacher. And I'm like, that's fair. That's fair. But I'm glad that they're really they're like connecting because it's just nice to see for both of them, really.
Yeah, and she just seems so like secure in getting to know him and dating him, even though, you know, she knows that he has a dead wife that he's still grieving, and so I like that for
effortless than like, because I feel like the Logan thing was just so messy and gross, and I just feel like this feels more genuine and mutual and not like any ulterior motives.
Definitely.
But also like this Isabel thing, she's clocking it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Yeah, it's very cool. So she's great. We love her. And him too, but like Jenna, she's also coming along. She's coming a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Are we good to move right along to our next scene? This will never work. Oh my god, I roll at this. Okay. Caroline is walking home from the grill when Matt pulls up in his car. He gets out of the car and calls to Caroline, and she says, "What?" in her Caroline way. But as soon as he gets to her, he goes right into a kiss, and she kisses him back. He pulls away and says, "This will never work," and then he kisses her again. And I know I roll. This is such a romantic moment. I want to love this moment. I want this for our girl Caroline. I want to see Caroline happy, but like it does make me mad. What about you?
Oh, yeah. It gives me some like Notebook kind of vibes, right? Because he's in his pickup truck, which is older, and she's dressed all retro. And so that does hit for someone who watched that movie so many times and wrote a novel as a middle schooler that was like similar kind of vibes. But this will never work. Like that comment totally ruins it for me. It's never going to work if this is your attitude going in. Yeah. And you know what? Smooching doesn't make up for the conversations that the two of you need to have.
Yes, 100%. So it's just tough because it is very a cute moment, and you're like happy for them, but it is just the additional stuff between them just makes it harder to feel as excited as I feel for Alaric and Jenna, if that makes sense.
Definitely. So our next scene, chamomile, cuddles, and confessions. We are at the Gilbert residence. Stefan is making Elena some tea while she sits on the couch and he asks if she's okay. She says yes, saying that she knows that she should feel upset or scared or something, but she feels exhilarated. Stefan tells her that that's the adrenaline and that she'll crash soon enough. She says she guesses, but she feels good about fighting back tonight. Stefan interjects, saying she shouldn't have to fight at all. He hands her the tea and then says he has to tell her something, and he's not sure how she'll feel about it. He tells Elena that he told Damon he'd help him get into the tomb, but that it was a lie. Stefan's letting Damon believe he can trust him. Elena is confused why Stefan would be afraid to tell her if he's lying about helping Damon, and he says Damon can be pretty persuasive since the two of them have bonded lately. She says that doesn't mean she trusts him because it's going to take a lot more than a road trip and a rescue to forget everything Damon's done. Except she totally didn't notice him murder Bree, but you know, whatever. Stefan says he doesn't want to be Damon's enemy, but he can't let Damon open the tomb. Elena agrees with him. They snuggle together on the couch. It was good to see her fighting back, and Steffi B scheming.
He really does. And you know what? Just as you were kind of reading that back for us, I was just thinking, like, so then what is Stefan's plan? If he's not going to help Damon, I know he says he wants to get him to trust him, but like he doesn't. We don't really get. We don't really get a further plan.
I think my read on it is that, without fully remembering exactly what happens, my read on it is that he wants to get the access to the tomb so he can slaughter all 27 vampires.
Okay.
That's how I read it.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because that's like, what? Like this is just such a weird plan. But
yeah.
But yeah, I do really enjoy, like we said. I mean, Elena had some good quick work in the earlier part of the episode. So we'll see how this all turns out. All right. Our final scene. Tortured and staked. We're outside the grill. And Ben, the bartender, is locking up. And he's heading home for the night. Anna is watching him as he leaves. She turns on her vamp face and goes to pursue him, but he responds back with his own vamp face.
Told you I didn't trust new people.
No, you can't ever. And he tells her to not sneak up on him. She says he loves it. They then like start talking, and she reports on what happened to Noah. She tells Ben he warned Noah. And then she asks him, Ben, how he did with his task. And he says the witch is totally crushing on him. He asks her if she got the journal, and she says no, but she knows where it is and she will get it. And the two kiss as a cover of Mr. Sandman performed by Oranger plays. I think this is probably another cover as well, the song Mr. Sandman, and cue credits. Okay. I hate that this guy is using Bonnie for personal gain, because how dare you? And also by Anna. You're really just not my favorite at this moment in time.
As I would have done in karaoke. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Jeremy and Bonnie are marks. I don't love it. Also, this cliche of two villains revealing their evilness and then making out, like, ugh.
No, gross. Well, that was a pretty juicy one.
Yes,
can't wait to further discuss more, but we'll move along to folklore.
All right, let's dive into some folklore. As we teased earlier in the episode, we've got a ton we want to cover. So first we're going to dive into grimoires, and then we're going to head into witch hunts in a little bit. So in this episode, we learned that Jonathan Gilbert's journal is the key to Emily's grimoire and unlocking the vampire tomb. While we'll learn more about the grimoire in upcoming episodes, we thought it would be a good idea to explore grimoires this week in preparation for what's to come.
According to sacred texts, the name grimoire is derived from the French word grammar. A grammar is a description of a set of symbols and how to combine them to create well-formed sentences. A grimoire, appropriately enough, is a description of a set of magical symbols and how to combine them properly. Think of them as handbooks of magic that provide instructions for rituals, the casting of spells, the procuring of money and love, the procuring of familiars, and the evocation and control of spirits, including demons and angels, and to perform tasks.
While the term grimoire is originally European, and many Europeans throughout history, particularly ceremonial magicians and cunning folk, have used grimoires, the historian Owen Davies has noted that similar books can be found all around the world, ranging from Jamaica to Sumatra.
Fun fact. The ancient Greeks and Romans believed that books on magic were invented by the Persians. The 1st century AD writer Pliny the Elder, coming back again, our true podcast hero, Pliny, stated that magic had been first discovered by the ancient philosopher Zoroaster around the year 647 BC, but that it was only written down in the 5th century BC by the magician Osthenes. Did I get that good?
Sure.
Did I get that good?
You got that good.
His claims are not, however, supported by modern historians.
Another interesting fact is that grimoires aren't only connected with witchcraft. They have associations with various religions and cultures. For instance, according to Otherworldly Oracle, there are grimoires written by saints and popes from past centuries.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I want to look into that. Interestingly, the printing press plays a large role in the history of grimoires. It makes sense that it allows the masses to receive and share books and ideas, and magical texts were among the earliest books to be printed. According to Wikipedia, the nominas were one example, consisting of prayers to the saints used as talismans.
We love a talisman.
We love a talisman. And it was particularly in Protestant countries such as Switzerland and the German states, which were not under the domination of the Roman Catholic Church, where such grimoires were published. So I guess meaning this was happening more in Protestantism over Catholicism. Like the Catholics were not vibing with doing some of this stuff.
Not super surprising.
That is not super surprising at all. Okay, cool.
However, even with these technological advances, handwritten grimoires remained highly valued as they were believed to contain inherent magical powers. I think that makes a lot of sense. Sure. With the increasing availability of grimoires, women and people living in poverty began to have access to books on magic. This was often incorporated into the popular folk magic of the average people, and in particular that of the cunning folk. These works left Europe and were imported to parts of Latin America controlled by the Spanish and Portuguese empires, and the parts of North America controlled by the British and French.
Throughout this period, the Inquisition had organized the mass suppression of peoples and beliefs that they considered heretical. In many cases, grimoires were found in the heretics' possessions and destroyed. In 1599, the church published the Indexes of Prohibited Books, in which many grimoires were listed as forbidden, including several medieval ones, such as the Key of Solomon, which were still popular. And I think the Key of Solomon came up back in our talisman episode, I think
so.
Yeah, I think so.
Look at them banning books back all those years ago and still doing it in 2026.
Yeah, some things never change, really.
In Christendom, there also began to develop a widespread fear of witchcraft. And as mentioned, we're going to get deeper into talking about witch hunts in our later folklore.
Folklore. No, that's great. I love it.
Later folklore section. So there also began to develop a widespread fear of witchcraft, which was believed to be satanic in nature. The subsequent hysteria, known as the witch hunts, caused the death of around 40,000 people, most of whom were women. Sometimes those found with grimoires, particularly demonological ones, were prosecuted and dealt with as witches, but in most cases, those accused had no access to such books.
Of course.
Not surprising. By the end of the early modern period and the beginning of the Enlightenment, many European governments brought in laws prohibiting many superstitious beliefs in an attempt to bring an end to the witch hunts, and this would invariably affect the release of grimoires.
Very interesting stuff. I just love all of this research, and just a brief pause in the middle here to thank you for putting this together this week. Christina did a lot of good research this week, so thank you.
It was fun, honestly, and I felt like I kept going down rabbit holes, which is you'll find in some of the printing press aspect of grimoires was something I had no knowledge of before, and then some of the things we're going to get into specifically with witch hunts tied to Virginia. I love when I learn something new, and I learned a lot of new things.
No, that's so fun, and it's fun, and I'm excited to keep kind of touching on things like this as we continue covering the show and are able to pull on more threads. But thank you for helming that this week, because
of course,
for folks who may not know, Christina and I kind of depending on our weeks, because we both are busy peeps, so depending on who has time for what, we kind of tag team where we can. So but Christina really nailed it on this one, so here we go. Now that we talked a little bit about the history of grimoires, let's talk about what they are in modern times and how to create one. Often today, the term grimoire is used interchangeably with a book of shadows, but they are not the same thing. Interesting. A grimoire, as discussed, is an older term used to define a book of spells, invocations, etc., whereas a book of shadows is a term popularized by the Wiccan movement in the 20th century. And if you want to read this part, Christina.
Every time I hear the term Book of Shadows, I think of the TV show Charmed. The Hallowell sisters aren't specifically Wiccan, but that show exists in the era of Wiccan popularity in TV and film, being in the 90s and early 2000s. The Book of Shadow contains all of their spells, their family history, and demons and other magical creatures in their world.
And another distinction between grimoires and a book of shadows is that for some, grimoires are a book of spells and rituals written in ancient or cryptic alphabets to keep a magic secret, while the book of shadows may be protected by magic symbols. They aren't necessarily written in an ancient alphabet code. Oh my gosh, this actually, just brief aside, reminds me of when I was younger, I actually made my own glyphic alphabet.
I love that.
That was a little magical book that I had so that nobody could read what I was writing in it.
So sneaky. I love it.
I was into, you remember this back in the day when I was when we first were all getting into, I guess getting into practicing with each other. We were talking about our magical pasts. And when I was a kid, I was also very drawn to magic, as I know that you were as well. But I did have little spell books, so this is just fun to think about it in that way. But I did do that so that people wouldn't, and I just did that naturally. See, it's just innate. It's innate in people, I think. Okay, anyway,
thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Today, many witches have grimoires. These are deeply personal and look different from person to person, so we're going to walk you through a quick guide to create a grimoire in case you're interested in creating your own.
So you're going to start by making or buying a notebook or journal. Decorate the cover or pages as your interests are. Maybe there's a sigil or protective symbol you want to draw on the outside to imbue the grimoire with not only protection, but your personal energy. And then the way that you want to include, and the way that you want to just include whatever iconography you want to put in there, because a grimoire is a personal item. So you'll just want to choose stuff that's definitely personal to you and that has just a lot of fluidity with it. Some ideas you can include in your grimoire could be spells that you've created or liked using, plant and herb associations, crystal associations, color associations, magical techniques and tools, tarot spreads and pulls, astrology, maybe a transit, maybe just any,
even listing your big three or something might be helpful.
Putting your big three in there, ancestor work and details about them, dreams, gods you work with, meditations, mantras, moon cycle trackings, your personal cycles, history of witchcraft, intentions, symbols, crossroads, etc. There's just so many things you can do with it. It's so fun. I actually do have I guess the beginnings of a grimoire that I started a little while ago, and I actually did include just spells that I've used in the past that I've really liked, and I started putting them in there. I haven't touched it in a while just because I don't know. It's one of those things where it just feels it's in a special book that I feel I'm it's so special that I don't want to sully it, but then it's but that's the point, right? I don't know. Do you have one that you have used or recorded anything in?
I have tried to start one a few times and I've never really kept with it, but I do have a tarot journal.
Yeah, I have one of those too. Yeah,
and so that I don't know if that's necessarily fully a grimoire, but it is a space that is only for tarot.
Yeah.
So, I do my yearly pulls, my monthly pulls, seasonal, Sabbats and any kind of journaling and reflecting. It's all in there, and it does feel really meaningful to look back through and see some patterns and where growth has been and questions that maybe that were solved. But it's certainly something I would love to do. I feel like it's kind of my magic for me in a lot of ways is like my creativity that we've talked about, but also kind of like my baking. I don't know if we've talked about this on the show, but I love baking. And I'm a very intuitive baker, which is very contradictory to...
Very risky for baking.
It's very risky. It's very contradictory to like the laws of baking, right? You have to be very precise and everything. And like, that's just not how I roll. And things always work out. And so,
I love that.
And I think I don't question it because I've been baking for 20 plus years, you know, and I do come from, I'm a 4th generation baker. So like there's some stuff there. Maybe my mom says that I have the baking gene, but I feel like my spell work and my ritual work is so kind of similar in that it's just innate and it's in the moment and I don't think too much about it. Yeah. So it might be like I make shifts to recipes all the time and I almost never write them down.
Yeah.
And that can be frustrating when I want to try to replicate something. And so I know it's good in theory, but I just feel like it might be a little too counter to just kind of how I operate in these kind of creative and intuitive spaces.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't think I ever, even recording stuff down, I don't think I ever do it the same way. It's like more, I always think my life is, I operate in guidelines, not like direct directions, because being somebody who has a lot of ADHD, it's like I can literally set a schedule for myself and quite literally never, like even if I'm like, this is what I'm going to do in this hour, this hour, this hour, I never follow it. Like it doesn't matter. So I feel like we're both like that in that way where it's just letting the intuition guide. And like you could have guardrails and stuff, like the general things. And I think that's what's so fun about magic. But maybe we'll have to do a little like grimoire crafting where you can kind of just like do fun stuff, because it seems like with what we're learning today, there's a lot of things that you can include in a grimoire. So if there are if you are maybe more of an intuitive witch, kind of like what Christina was getting at, maybe you want just like vibes of like certain things, right? Like just to have broad strokes. So then that can like be something that whenever you're referring to it, you can then just kind of add a little whatever you've got that day. Because I know I do that a lot too when I'm doing spell work, because sometimes I just don't always have everything that I need on hand, so I just kind of make do with what's around. So
yeah, I do have a folder that is like back from like 2018 2019 when I started really kind of on the witch path and we took classes together. And so like my astrology chart and color associations and chakras and like things like that, it's all of those like worksheets and notes do exist in one place. I just almost never pull them out, but I kind of started that. And then I guess just the last thing to share about grimoires is that you don't have to buy it or make a physical grimoire. You can absolutely use and create a digital grimoire in kind of whatever interface you're interested in. If you're on Canva, you can make a grimoire. If you're on Pinterest, you can make a grimoire,
That's so true.
So you don't have to spend any money to make a grimoire. You could also construct a grimoire by adding pages and items to a binder. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people just have binders kind of laying around. We did this
our coven does,
We did this for our coven. And the idea is that we add all of our rituals and spells and kind of like keepsakes into this binder. So every time we meet, we take turns who's hosting, and they're responsible for printing and adding whatever ritual they created. And it is really cool to all have it in the Silver Water Coven binder, grimoire, etc.
Oh, did we ever say our coven's name? Did we ever say that?
I don't know. Are we okay with that? I just said it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm fine that we said it. I'm just like, I don't think we've ever said it. I think we've been just elusive, but Silver Water Coven. That's us.
Anything else you want to add about grimoires?
No, I think that's great. Again, thank you so much for putting this together. It's honestly making me want to like go back to my grimoire and like start adding stuff into it and just doing a little bit, just giving a little more TLC, maybe doing some collaging.
It is fun when we've done like dream boards and collaging.
Because that's what I envision this, like especially with doing that. Or I mean, I love a sigil. I love making sigils, and like that sounds kind of fun, like being able to just like imbue like the text with that so that it just has your energy signature on it. I think that that's really fun. And just I love I mean, I'm not like a big crafty person, but like I do love like an intentional craft, especially when it is involving magic. Like that's I think when I always deeply enjoy crafting is when I'm like doing it with my magical intentions infused. So yeah, I'm excited. But
Amazing.
I guess we'll move on to our next, albeit more darker side of history in this section today. But we do want to move a little bit along here and talk about some witch hunts. So I'm going to let Christina take it away to get us into that.
Sure. So even though we don't see her in episode 12, Emily is a major player, as evident from her grimoire and the search that everyone has for it, right? Trying to get Jonathan Gilbert's journal to essentially find Emily's grimoire. In this episode, we also learned from Stefan that Emily was burned as a witch in 1864. So we wanted to take a moment to talk about witch hunts as well as the complexity of Emily being a Black enslaved woman during this time.
We know that the Bennett family left Salem during the witch trials, relocating to Mystic Falls, Virginia. The Salem witch trials that ranged from June 1962 to
1692.
Did I say 16? What did
You said 1962.
I'm sorry. Oh, dang. 1692. My apologies. June 1692 to May 1693. Was a series of investigations and persecutions that caused 19 convicted witches to be hanged and many other suspects to be imprisoned in Salem Village in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, now Danvers, Massachusetts.
I will just say a quick note that there is no proof that there were actual witches in Salem. And so it is, at this point, most historians will agree that innocent people were put on trial and killed.
Most of the time because, and I don't know, we might talk about it in like a later thing, but I know that just from my own research into this, most of the time, especially with women, it's because men didn't like women that like had any kind of power, especially when they like owned property or had anything, because maybe they like lost a husband or like a father, like somebody passed away, so then they ended up just inheriting property, and a lot of times that was also like a thing behind it.
Autonomy is dangerous to the patriarchy.
Always. I actually read a really good book, so random. I forget the author, but have you ever read The Daylight Gate?
No. I will recommend for people who are interested in fiction that takes place in a similar time period as the Salem witch trials to check out Slewfoot by Brom.
Oh yeah, I love Slewfoot. I just read that not too long ago. It's really good. That's an incredible book. It's so good. And then The Daylight Gate is Jeanette Winterson.
Oh, okay.
And it's really good. Our my friend John like recommended it to me because I guess he read it for a class a little while ago. But yeah, I really love her book Written on the Body. But this is it takes place in England, but it's like 1612. Okay. Is like when the story takes place. So anyway, so if that's like if getting into the witchy trials of people that like is like your thing, or like you're interested in the history, or even like the fiction around that history, I mean there's like there's some good stuff out there to read. Definitely. And a lot of the ones that are fiction is obviously they tend to bode better for they're like actually like, because you know, people were horrible back in the day. But anyway, so according to Britannica, the events in Salem in 1692 were but one chapter in a long history of witch hunts that began in Europe between 1300 and 1330 and ended in the late 18th century, which was with the last known execution for witchcraft taking place in Switzerland in 1782. The Salem trials occurred late in the sequence after the abatement of the European witch hunt fervor, which peaked from the 1580s and 90s to the 1630s and 40s. Some 3/4 of those European witch hunts took place in Western Germany, the Low Countries, France, Northern Italy, and Switzerland. The number of trials and executions varied according to time and place, but it is generally believed that some 110,000 persons in total were tried for witchcraft, and between 40,000 to 60,000 were unfortunately executed, which is really upsetting.
Witches were considered to be followers of Satan, who had traded their souls for his assistance. It was believed that they employed demons to accomplish magical deeds, that they changed from human to animal form or from one human form to another, that animals acted as their familiars or familiar spirits, and that they rode through the air at night to secret meetings and, of course, orgies. The process of identifying witches began with suspicions or rumors typically. Accusations followed, often escalating to convictions and executions, often without any proof. The Salem witch trials and executions came about as the result of a combination of church politics, family feuds, and quote unquote hysterical children, all of which unfolded in a vacuum of political authority.
While the Bennets escaped persecution in Massachusetts, they wound up in a state that was fortifying its slavery laws. In 1662, 1667, 1682, and notably 1693, Virginia had passed various parts of slave codes, including the 1662 law that made enslaved status hereditary through the mother. A 1667 law declared that baptism did not free slaves. A 1682 law allowed the enslaving of Indians. A 1693 law was at first about runaways on outlying plantations, but after a revision by the Upper House, Virginia's council, it added distributing new language that dictated that mulatto children of white women and Negro men to be bound as indentured servants for 31 years. It also punished those white women with either a hefty fine or, if they could not pay it, with a whipping and a servitude for themselves for 5 years. That's really
so
upsetting.
if there were white women who were helping the enslaved people, they were being punished. And
really upsetting.
It is very upsetting. And part of the reason, so like what I started unlocking with some of this research is specifically talking about this 1693 law that went into effect in terms of Virginia slavery law, and tying that into the fact that, of course, this is a fictional family. We're talking about the Bennets, but they would have been leaving Salem in 1693 to a place where the slavery laws were getting more and more strict and widespread. So pretty scary.
That's really scary.
We'll fast forward just a smidge in time to show how much more dangerous Virginia was for people of color. So the Virginia Slave Code of 1705, so about 10 years later, was the most comprehensive codification of slavery in the colony. It legally defined all enslaved Africans, Native Americans, and people of mixed race as property or real estate. It incorporated prior laws regarding punishment, movement, and labor.
The South's economy was dependent on slave labor, and as a result, the institution remained in place through the Civil War and up to the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865. After emancipation, many formerly enslaved African Americans left rural areas for the cities, seeking new opportunities, adventure, and the protection of Union troops. Some advancement for African Americans was made during the Reconstruction period that followed the war, but the last quarter of the 19th century saw the imposition of both the de facto and de jure segregation and discrimination, creating a system that continued to treat the former slaves as second-class citizens.
Additional important historical context is the fact that in 1860, right? So much of the Vampire Diaries takes place in 1864. We know Emily was killed in 1864. So that in 1860, Virginia had the nation's highest population of enslaved African Americans, which was nearly 500,000 people, according to the Library of Virginia.
So terrible.
It just gets worse.
It just keeps getting worse. Like, it's so sad. And it's crazy that, like, I mean, I know the show that we're watching is a teen vampire drama, but, like, having it set in this particular place and not really discussing some of these things or, like, ever highlighting them is just, like, questionable to me.
Yes, certainly.
Anyway, so while doing research on witch hunts in the 1860s, we learned the following. While the most famous witch hunts occurred in the late 17th century, notably Salem witch trials of 1692, the 1860s saw a different kind of witch hunt, one rooted in racialized and gendered fear, political repression, and the rise of the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan emerged in the South in 1865 to 1866 during the Reconstruction as a white supremacist paramilitary group. Its members targeted African Americans, freedmen, and their allies, as well as white Republicans and disloyal citizens. The Klan's actions functioned as a modern witch hunt, a campaign of fear, misinformation, and violence aimed at erasing or marginalizing certain groups. Victims were often accused of crimes they did not commit or of conspiring against the state and punished without due process.
And I was just going to say that in general, we witches and historians tend to take problem with people just claiming like things are a witch hunt, likening things to a witch hunt.
For sure.
Because it so often diminishes the upwards of 60,000 people in Europe who were murdered. And witch hunts still exist in certain parts of the world. But I think that this is a really fair comparison of the KKK and what happened in our country and is happening in our country as feeling like a modern witch hunt.
Yeah.
So Brenna was talking about a little bit of this just a couple minutes ago. When we examine the implications and reality of a Black woman, so Emily, in the South in 1864, and her being burned for helping the vampires and being a witch, this sits even heavier, and it's important to acknowledge this when the show glosses right over it. Supernatural universes like The Vampire Diaries, True Blood, and Twilight love to add storylines connected to the Civil War and the Confederacy, all while neglecting to share or give space to the horrors of slavery and colonization during this era. Emily's story deserves more space, as do her ancestors and the racial discrimination that they have faced in and outside of Mystic Falls. Bonnie is our MVP of witchcraft in the town of Mystic Falls in the 2000s, and her Blackness is not something to forget or speak quietly about.
100%. And we will keep doing what we can to keep advocating for this. I mean, I know that we are white femmes, but we still feel very strongly about, like, standing up for our people of color, especially our witches of color, and everybody that has, like, just gets so just I can't even think of the word that I'm trying to say, but just so wrongly mistreated by just the way things have been in history. So we'll keep trying to bring it up and do what we can to speak on it.
And we had gone back and forth since this folklore section was getting a little lengthy and a little more history than lore, and about, do we just include a little bit of this? And we both agreed that we thought it deserved more space. And we didn't voice this to each other, but I know for me, I was thinking about how this show so far really just kind of skips over these horrible moments in history.
Yeah.
And I didn't want us to do that.
I didn't want us to do that either, and I'm so glad that we didn't. And thank you for doing the research for this week, and we'll keep on keeping on. So
Yeah.
Like, thank you for listening and following us along for this week's Folklore, which actually had a lot of history in it. So
It was a lot of history, little bit of lore.
A lot of history, little bit of lore.
Little bit of crafting grimoires.
and some crafting some grimoires. So we're going to wrap it up with some of our hot takes and final thoughts. All right, here we are, bottom of the ep. We just had a very intense folklore / history section this week, so let's bring the energy to a little bit different direction and talk about some of what the actual fuck was happening in this episode.
Bring back the hand drive and
because this episode was really something. So do you want to start with your hot takes?
Sure.
Okay.
So, as you know, we've talked about in previous episodes, we loved themed everything, right? Obviously, we were all dressed up for those who are watching. So I love a themed anything, and I personally really look forward to all of the themed episodes of the Vampire Diaries. We will be seeing more of them. So in this regard, that was really fun. I also really enjoy, especially because we had so many episodes where just Mystic Falls High did not exist. So I love when they use the school as a setting for supernatural things to happen. I think that's a fun contrast, right? To like a very kind of sterile human environment, right? This is like the first episode in forever, maybe the first episode ever, where I have no confusion about where Stefan and Elena stand. I think literally from the pilot, I have been confused, right? These two love to waffle.
Oh,
Get them some syrup.
Get them some syrup. They love waffling.
But I appreciate the total honesty that they are having, at least in this moment. It's very refreshing for the two of them. In my headcanon, Elena saw how fetching Caroline looked in scarves last month, and so she asked to borrow one for the dance.
Yes, I love that.
Brenna also asked Caroline to borrow a scarf for this episode.
And by Caroline, we mean Dwight and his bandanas.
Hey,
Dwight's bandanas.
Wherever you have a fashionista,
you gotta call him up.
I love our brothers being on the same team. I don't love Stefan tricking Damon into thinking he's helping him with the tomb, but I also understand where he's coming from. But I just want them to actually be on the same side,
team. And it just feels like a all-around bad idea for Stefan to be doing this.
And
I guess we'll be following it.
Stefan has proven to us on a couple occasions that he can be good at scheming, but I don't know if he has what it takes to pull a long con, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's certainly better than Noah and Anna. Mm-hmm. We can at least agree upon that.
We certainly can. Yay for friends and family getting vervain. Finally. However, with multiple vampires in town, how long do they think they can keep this a secret from folks like Caroline, Jenna, and Jeremy? Maybe it's time to loop them in so they don't, invite strangers in.
Great point.
It's just, real random question. Ben got a job at the Grill to infiltrate the town / Bonnie for the mysterious plan we don't know anything about except, Jonathan Gilbert's journal and getting into the tomb. Do we think that Noah got a job as a pizza delivery guy just for this purpose? I'm actually, I was laughing while typing this earlier. Do we think he got a job just in the hopes that the Gilberts would order a fucking cheese pizza?
I mean, I feel like this might be the case, and I wonder if it's just because it's a small town, it was just inevitable that they would order from probably one of two pizza places.
Where is there a pizza place? We only know about the Grill. And it's breaded chicken Caesar salads.
Do you think that the pizza that the Grill delivers pizza?
I could see the girl making pizza. I don't know how good it would be, but
I think they look like they could have a brick oven. Maybe. But they
in 2010?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Bertucci's.
Yeah. But
Throwback to Bertucci's for anyone.
I mean, they still exist, I think.
Do they? Do they still let kids play with the dough? Because that was always my favorite.
Absolutely. Like, within the last 6 years, because I have nephews who I've been there with, and they gave them dough. And I'm like, this is cute, and also, like, a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I just want to, like, eat my fresh rolls and, like, disassociate.
That's fair.
But yeah, I really think I mean, I guess it's possible he could have just compelled the delivery guy, because obviously he's been watching Elena. But if Ben's going to the lengths of getting a job at the Girl, I want Noah to have also gotten some fucking random job to do this. All right. We've talked about this a few times. After the last few episodes with Matt and Caroline's drama, I am very wary about their relationship, and I believe that Caroline deserves better. So I'm going to go ahead and disagree with our girl Bond from a few episodes ago, saying that he's nice and normal, because I don't actually think he's nice to Caroline, and his reactions are so immature. So, like, maybe that makes him a normal guy, but I think regardless of if we're looking at 2010 or 2026, I think that we should all demand and expect better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It seems like a pretty high probability that Rick's dead wife, that Damon killed, is Elena's birth mom, and he's officially dating Aunt Mom. Can you say complicated?
Complicated.
And it's the plot will just continue to thicken. Every time, so there were a few phrases in this episode that just kept getting repeated, and it got to the point where it was very grating for both Brenna and me, because we watched the episode so many times before we record. So every time the Salvatore brothers say he's been invited in, or Noah says she looks like Catherine, I think we should all drink. Yeah. Whether it is our kombucha or our water or our margaritas. Which we just had margaritas.
We did just have margaritas.
They were delicious. Thank you,
very
Brenna.
Good.
Okay. Why? Now, okay. We know that we are annoyed with Anna. She is pushy, and she's a vampire, and Jeremy is a total mark because she wants the journal. But why do we think... This is what I'm confused about. Why do we think Anna was pushing vampires on Jeremy so much? Because I don't actually think that ties into her getting the journal. No. She could befriend him and do her whole I'm homeschooled routine and help him with research, and through it be like, well, what are the source materials you're using? Oh, you're using your family's journal? That sounds really interesting. Could I look at that?
Yeah, I love history. Let me look at it, because I frequent the library. There's a lot of ways she could have gone around it.
But she just, like, immediately, first scene they meet, brings up vampires, and then she, like, doesn't stop pushing it, and I just don't understand to what end.
Yeah.
Especially for a person who's like, no, I'm sticking to the plan. And I'm like, this doesn't seem like a plan. Maybe go home and deep condition your hair, honey. Just saying.
Just saying.
And also, she could have compelled him, because at that point
he doesn't have.
Well, now he has well, at least Stefan made a vervain bracelet for Elena to give to Jeremy. We haven't seen him wear it, but he has not had one before this.
I just here's something that, and I mean, I know that we're wrapping up your takes, but just something that I was thinking about through this episode that kind of just connects to this is, like, and also going back to your point about other, like, how long is it going to be until other people know? How is Elena, like, convincing them to wear this stuff on them, like, every day? Like, because you know what I mean? Like, it's believable that she's wearing Stefan's necklace because it's a gift from her boo. It's not believable that Caroline's going to wear the heart locket from Elena every day, or Jeremy's gonna wear a bracelet every day, or whatever Jenna has. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, like, unless she's brewing them all, like, vervain tea, like, daily to keep everyone protected, which I don't even think would protect them for a full day. As we like to say, I have questions. Yeah. We have questions. Yeah. But I know you have one more point to say before we move to my hot takes.
No Tyler. But we talked a little bit about it, and in Brenna's headcanon, he's coaching the team, and he's just real tired.
He's tired. He doesn't have it in him to do more than that. Okay, gonna be real quick because we are running a little long today. So I just, my hot, not really hot take is Noah was so lame and deserved to die. Anna is also the worst. Ben stinks too. And
This sentence.
and I like having more vampires for the brothers to be against, since it gives them opportunities to team up to take them down. So I do like that aspect of having vampires. But as I said earlier, I feel like not all vampires are good at scheming or coming up with diabolical plans, either the first or the sequel. So there's that. We already kind of talked about this, but Damon's butt grab is truly something that's honestly just like really, why did that happen? Like,
Right.
I don't love that. Like, just don't love that. I know that he was obviously hooking up with Caroline in like the beginning of the show, but there's just something that doesn't sit right with me, especially when like I believe that the dance butt grab happens after his exchange with Alaric and him being like being named as Stefan's like guardian or whatever. So that's just like even weirder. I feel like so this is like something that I feel like I remember this episode like differently in my mind when I'm like remembering it, because I think there's just like a lot of iconic outfits from it. So when you're like thinking back to Vampire Diaries, like there is just a lot of like visuals that can kind of just sear into your brain. But I felt like I thought that this episode was going to be a bigger deal, and I was surprised that it wasn't. And I honestly found myself more annoyed at like a lot of the characters, though I do think like the Emily journals, the Jonathan Gilbert,
The Emily journals.
the Emily journals, honestly, something I would watch. But
I don't care about a dead white guy's journal.
no, I want to know about Emily. I want to read her grimoire. But I think learning about Emily's grimoire, learning about her getting like getting burned, and because I don't think we knew that. We did not. That was like the first, this was the first episode that we learned that information. I think like those are all interesting things, but like just the sloppily of these like tertiary vampires trying to like do shit, it was like not very interesting, though the dance concept was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And this is like very subtle at the end of the episode in Stefan and Elena's exchange, while he's like kind of telling Elena that he's not going to, even though he told Damon he's going to help him, he's not planning to help him. I'm intrigued by Stefan sounding a wee bit jealous of Damon and Elena spending more time together bonding. Like, it's just like a weird thing to say. But I am glad that she's calling out Damon's like BS and not like just being super. I mean, even though she kind of feels chummy with him at certain times, but at least she recognizes that he's got a lot more to do, even if he like rescued her or they had a road trip. So, similar to you, I think I'm already out on Matt and Caroline. I like that they found company in each other, but their relationship kind of sucks so far, and it's off to a terrible start.
Plus, he got into her bed with shoes on. So.
I can never
Unforgivable.
Unforgivable shit.
Before we move into the favorite line from the episode, I just want to remind our listeners and viewers that we are starting to release spoiler-sodes. So if you are someone who is watching for the first time but is cool with spoilers, or you're watching for the millionth time and you're really, chomping at the bit for those spoilers, there will be a separate shorty episode, a little snack, if you will, where we'll talk through some spoilers specifically for episode 12.
Yeah, so tune into that if you want to hear more of our spoiler takes, and also just like us trying to remember the show, since I clearly have not watched in a very long time.
Some of my favorite things is Brenna trying to remember what happens in the show and it not being at all true.
just like me forgetting that there's apparently another decade dance that's coming, which is a minor spoiler, so I don't think that that's that crazy to reveal.
Jenna tells us they do,
but that's why I'm saying. Yeah. So, all right.
Tell us your favorite line from the episode.
So, all right. I was between two, but I'm going to just go with this one. I think the one that I kind of was loving was, I'm failing English, so I copped a plea. I just it's just such a weird line. It's just kind of funny.
So strange.
I copped a plea.
I copped a plea. I love it. Mine is, I know you love, from Caroline, lesbian friend necklace, because we're freaky like that. Yeah, exactly. Have to wink. All right. Fuck, marry, kill.
All right.
Do you know who you're doing?
Oh, okay. So I will be fucking Caroline so that she doesn't have to fuck Matt. It's a block fuck.
Amazing.
I'm marrying Bonnie because her hair is beautiful, and just fuck Ben for trying to mark her and use her for things. And then I'm killing Anna because you got to kill her last week and now I want to kill her. So there we go. I'm killing her because she's annoying.
Amazing. I love it. I am going to fuck Bonnie because
Okay.
she looks great, but I'm not, while I will enjoy it sometimes, I'm not, like Ben, the only thing we agree on, besides that she's pretty, is that I'm not a huge karaoke person. So, like, I don't want to marry her and have to listen to karaoke all the time, you know?
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
I would go on a date with her where we sing karaoke and then we bang.
That sounds good.
Hopefully in 50s get-ups, because why not? That sounds cute. I'm marrying Caroline. I'm doing just the opposite of you. I'm marrying Caroline. Fair. You know, it's between her and Stefan, of course. But, you know, I love Stefan. But you know what? His hair's the exact same as always. And you know what? Caroline really committed to the theme. That updo, it's alone. Put a ring on it. And, like, someone just gotta take care of her and keep her the fuck away from Damon, Matt, every other shithead in the world.
I think that the four of us should just ride off into the sunset together.
I think we do great.
Me, you, Caroline, and Bonnie just off into the sunset together, away from the bullshit. It sounds great.
I love it. And then since you killed Anna and I killed her last week, I won't kill her today. So I'm gonna kill Ben because he's using Bonnie.
Yeah.
He's got a punchable face. And, you know, he caused drama in the episode Unknowingly between Caroline and Matt sees himself in him. And I'm like, no, Matt, you don't want to be anything like this piece of shit. Yeah. So, you know what? Even though what Caroline said was real messed up, she had a good read when she told Bonnie that she deserved better than him, because you do.
1,000%. Love that. Well, thank you.
I didn't actually want to kill Damon this week. Shocker.
He was actually outside of being
I liked him for the most part.
Outside of being a fucking butt crab.
I also don't need to kill him this week because Bonnie and Caroline are going to do it.
Yeah, that's true. They're taking care of it for everybody. Oh my goodness. Well,
so I think that's a wrap for today.
Oh my goodness, this is a long one. We'll see what hits the cutting room floor or not. But I mean, I don't know. We might have done okay today. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think we did great.
It was just a meaty episode, so. But before we let you go, as a reminder, you can follow us online. It's very awesome over there. So please do at Hello Sister Podcast on Instagram and Threads. Or if you'd like to write us an email, you can do so at hellosisterpodcast1864@gmail.com.
I want to thank my girl Brenna for always dressing to theme and for helping me with my hair, just like Caroline does for Bonnie. And as always, a huge thank you to our husbands, Alex and Dwight, for all of their hard work and support.
And thank you, Christina, for never making me dance alone and for helping me hunt vampires at the Decade Dance. And of course, as always, thank you for listening to Hello Sister. Bye! Hello Sister is written, directed, and hosted by Christina Rosso-Schneider and Brenna Dinon. Graphic designs are by Alex Schneider. Music is written and produced by Dwight Evan Young. Sound design and video are recorded and produced by Dwight Evan Young and Brenna Dinon. Hello Sister Podcast is a Bad Day Media production. Oh no.
It's so loud. Can you do the volume quieter?